but you need you. I know you'll come, ready to kill. When we smoke again, when we smoke again.
What's up, people? What's going on, Mr. Mendizo? How you doing?
I'm good, Anzo. How you doing tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad. All right, people, welcome to the show. This is the first
Welcome.
episode of O.O.C. Jeez, off our chest. And like I said, with the name of the program, it's off our chest. So we're just gonna talk about some things, get real up close and personal. Like I told Mendizo, we do a lot of shows, comic book and movie related. So this time I decided, you know what, we're gonna do something a little bit more personal. So let's get it started. Mr. Mendizo, what you got to say, brother?
Well, based on the topics, either one of us are going to have the majority of the input. This is more exploring and, speaking off of our chest, things that we normally wouldn't speak about, knowing that we're not alone, because being alone isn't a good place,
Agree
And
with you 100%.
we both agreed to do this because it's something that we're passionate about, something that we both wanted to do, and the path came that here we are doing it today. And with the blessings, everything will, move forward with a steady pace, and hopefully we'll do a lot of good.
Hopefully. And what he was talking about was basically, I know there's a lot of people that follow us and they're living with depression, stuff like that. One of our followers lost their mother, and people that know me know that I've suffered from depression for about 5 years. So we're going to get into some topics like that. Maybe hopefully we can help some people so that they can see that they're not the only ones that are going through this. So, tweet us out, let people know what's going on, and we're about to get it started. Anything else to put in, Mr. Mendez?
Let it begin. This is new to me. I won't lie. Again, I don't want to sound repetitive. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. So I hope people are patient and will grow with us, and wish the best for us.
Absolutely, 100%. So as I was saying earlier, I lived with depression for 5 years, and I went through a lot of things that happened in my life I couldn't control. Some things I did control. But the point is, the depression that I had put me in a deep hole. Like, it was really deep for me. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. My dog died. My house burned down. And all of this stuff happened within a course of 6, 7 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't see no way out. I mean, I was hurting. I was in pain. I also wanted to hurt other people. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to see people happy because I wasn't happy. And that's what happens when you're in a depression. Like I tell people all the time, there's such a big difference from being depressed and being in a depression. And I didn't see any way out. It felt like I was in a tunnel with no light. Like, it was just darkness. How I got out of it, I can't explain it to you, but it's steps, like I was saying to you before. Our minds can be very dangerous. We can convince ourselves of lies. We can convince ourselves that things that are happening in life that may not be happening are actually happening. And we have to think positive. I know it's a lot easier said than done. It really is. I had a hard time doing it. It took me 5 years to get out of it, I was living in an apartment that was grimy. Like, it was bad, man. I couldn't even cook in the kitchen. It was so bad, right? The janitor, the landlord, they had to come. They fixed it up. It still looked ghetto. Still looked really bad. So I had a little frying pan, whatever, like electric frying pan. I used to cook on that. Didn't like my environment that I lived in. It was really horrible. But when I moved from there, I got an apartment. It was a 1.5. It was a 1.5, but it was a brand new apartment. No one had ever lived in this apartment before. And that alone brought me back a little bit. You know, I was like, okay, now I can actually bring people to my house. But when I was living in that dark place, I didn't even want people at my house. I was living in a spot where my curtains were closed constantly. The only light that ever came from my living room was my TV light because I was watching TV. I didn't want to bother with anybody. I was at the point where I pushed friends away, and friends just didn't want to bother with me because I was in a dark place, you know? And a lot of them didn't understand, to be honest with you. Like, they didn't understand. I hear it all the time. Oh, you need to be a man. You need to man up and you need to do this. And I'm like, listen, you don't live in my shoes. So you don't know what the hell I went through. You understand? And a lot of people will say, oh, if you want to, people that kill themselves are cowards. I wanted to
I'm
kill
sorry to
myself.
interrupt. I'm sorry to
Yeah, go ahead.
interrupt, Anzo, but
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
that
Anytime.
that's bullshit. You know, anybody who could tell you be a man. What's being a man got to do with how you handle depression? I mean, it's not like you
Mm-hmm,
want to be depressed. You know, and the only people I could really see, I could speak for myself
mm-hmm,
because I witnessed what you went through. I was
mm-hmm,
there. You know,
mm-hmm,
we go back many, 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 many years, and
mm-hmm,
we're still friends today. And I could attest to what he's saying. Um, he's younger than me. He was my younger brother's best friend. So, I mean, I was there, but I wasn't really involved.
mm-hmm,
But, you know, cutting you off, I apologize, but I just had to say this. Where
mm-hmm.
you are today, as I told you today, and I'll say it live on this podcast, I am extremely proud of you.
I appreciate
Through
that.
all of that, what this man failed to mention is he raised his son who's a man now, graduated, solid, grounded, not misguided, not misled, respectful, which is a dying breed now. This man did this through all of what he just told you. So, not that you have to give him credit, it's just to show you how, you know, the will to not want to be in that anymore,
Mm-hmm,
to do it.
mm-hmm,
And then you'll see those people who cared for you will come to light because you might get blinded by the misguidance of your thoughts.
mm-hmm,
There's always people around you who really care,
mm-hmm,
always. But unfortunately, they do not say the words that you want to hear because you yourself tell yourself those same words that your friends will tell you. Not
mm-hmm.
those people who tell you be a fucking man. What, are you kidding me? Come on, man. Listen,
Yep.
um, I didn't go through what you went through, but I had my own form of depression where I'm a grown man living with my parents wondering what the hell happened?
Mm-hmm,
What the hell happened? How did this
mm-hmm,
happen? How did I not see this? How? Questions I couldn't answer that I kept asking myself, bringing myself to tears in my room, grown
mm-hmm,
man crying in his room.
mm-hmm,
And again, I'm saying a grown man because I would always tell people, you know, you inflict these thoughts on yourself. And
mm-hmm,
then I realized that I told people that, and that's how I got out of it. I went to the gym. I stopped hanging around those people who were not getting me out of those thoughts,
mm-hmm,
keep reminding me of the things that are holding me back.
mm-hmm.
And once I escaped that, it's like I was born again. Things happened that I was like, oh my God. So, what about all the other things that I procrastinated on? What's the outcome of those things? And that to me is born again. And this show hopefully will prevent people from, reaching the depths of the bottom to have to say, hey, who your reality is, who your real friends are. You know,
Mm-hmm.
family is always there. Um, appreciate every day. You know,
You
why
really do.
experience a near death experience to appreciate every day when you see it happening to people around you every day?
Mm-hmm. It's hard though. You know what I mean? Because when you're in that
I,
situation,
I'm sure it's very hard.
it's like you don't see. I was, like I said, I was just going through the motions, bro. I would wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, wake up, I could have died in that apartment, bro. I could have died and nobody would have known for months. That's how isolated I was. Nobody would have known for months. And you talk about my son, and yeah, I did do a pretty good job. But man, bro, I
No,
tell
you
you,
did a hell of a job. You did a
no,
hell of a job.
bro,
Look where you are
I,
today.
yes, but
Look where you are today.
but no, I get it, and I understand that. But I fucked up, bro.
Well,
I,
Anzo, look where you were.
yeah, no, I get it,
Look where
I
you
get
were.
it,
You can't be
I get
hard on
it,
yourself. You got
I
to
get
look
it.
at the final outcome. You made it. You made it. I always tell people we're so hard on ourselves. We're so inflictive on ourselves of the wrongs and the things we've done. If you balance it out on the scale, right? Balance it out on a
Hmm.
scale. If one outweighs
Hmm.
the other, then yes. But you have to balance it out to say, hey, I'm really not that bad. You know,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
average person goes through these
Hmm.
things, and this
Hmm.
is the point of the show, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I
I
completely
hear you.
understand. You know what I mean? 100% understand what you're saying, and I try not to hold myself guilty for. I can't say that. I do feel guilty
It's
for what I
hard.
said. I do feel guilty
It's
for what
hard.
I said to him, but just that alone, like I lost 7 months of his life, bro. I didn't speak to my son for 7 months, and
Mhm.
when I did finally speak to him, he was like 2 feet taller. His voice changed. Like it was just so different, bro. I actually broke down and cried, man. Like literally, I was like, "What the fuck, man?" I missed him grow to that level, and it hurt. It fucking hurt. Trust me.
I can feel you,
So
man.
that was another one of the things that drove me even deeper into my depression hole. Like I just like, okay, I fucked up with that. You know what I mean? I would be on the bus, I would break down and cry in front of all kinds of people, bro. It was embarrassing. At one point, I had a good job at the time too, right? I was working at Bet US and I was making money, bro. But for whatever reason, I wasn't paying my bills. You know what I mean? I'd
Hmm.
pay my rent late, if anything, or not at all.
No urgency. No
Right,
urgency.
right. So I ended up losing Hydro, and when I called them to find out, the bill was like $2,000, and I was like,
Wow.
okay, well, my work commission checks a month were like 2,000, sometimes $3,000, $4,000. That's how good the money was. But I ended up losing that job, right? So they ended up
Hmm.
firing me. I had a migraine, and I didn't have a migraine. I just didn't want to go to work. You know what I mean? But people knew I suffered from migraine, so I used that as an excuse. Didn't go to work the day after they fired me. So now I'm living in an apartment where I can't even pay for hydro anymore, and rent is getting harder to pay. So now I'm looking at getting evicted. You know what I mean? And I
Hmm.
knew at that point that if I get kicked out on the streets, I would definitely have killed myself. There would have been no way that I would have been able to handle that embarrassment. My pride is what kept me out of that. So I did what I had to do, and that's how I found the little 1.5. I just kept looking, I kept looking. And my credit was bad too, like really bad. So that was another reason why I was worried that I wouldn't find a place. But this place, they didn't ask me for no credit check. So when I got there, that was a weight off of my shoulders. You know what I mean?
It's funny how things happen like that sometimes, huh?
It was like, oh, thank God, absolutely.
You call that a blessing, man. You call that a
Mhm.
blessing.
Absolutely was a blessing, 100%. You know, and then like I
Because
said,
look what it did for you.
once I moved into there, I started to feel a little bit better about myself. Not much, but things were starting to come into place. And
Hmm.
yeah, so there was some other things that happened, but we'll get into that in another show because I want to do different topics. But like I said, at that point, my depression wasn't as bad as it was because I was in a good apartment, and then I ended up getting a better job. And like I like to say, even if you're in one and you don't see the light, just keep pushing, man, because it's there. That light is there. You just got to get to it. You know, I had cousins. Two of my cousins killed themselves, and my first cousin, I don't even know why he did it. Just he seemed like happy. He was. You remember Carlton?
Hmm.
My cousin Carlton, yeah. He was
Hmm.
happy every time I seen him. He was cheerful. He was laughing. He was joking. And then one day, he hung himself. 2 years ago, I had another cousin who killed himself, and he was missing for a while. So I tried to reach out and tried to get him to contact me. And I was like, listen, man, if you even need to come up to Montreal and just chill with me for a bit, you know what I mean? But he never got back to me. Um, and they found him dead in his car, you know? And that's why I say when people say that people that have killed themselves are cowards, I'm like, no, you cannot say that. You don't know what these people have gone through. Plus, it is not easy to do something like that, man. It's really not. It's not. I don't know what it was that stopped me from doing it, but I was stopped from doing it. And
Just the thought to come to your mind is enough on its own, you know,
mm-hmm,
because
100%.
you don't go through life thinking at some point I'm going to want to take my own life.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I had a kid, right? My son was
Yeah.
like maybe 10 years old at the most, And that's the thing people kept saying, no, count your blessings, count your blessings. But at the time they were telling me that, they didn't know I was like 6 months into not speaking to him. You know what I mean? 6 months into him not speaking to me more than anything. So I'm like, yeah, I can count my blessings, but you're not in my shoes. You don't know how that feels. You know what I mean? Sometimes I would sneak at the basketball court. I used to play by Coronation there, and just to watch him play.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't go up to him, I wouldn't say anything because I know we were having an issue, but I would just do that stuff, and it
You're
was, it
still his
was,
father.
I know, I know. And hey, man, till this day, me and him have one of the greatest relationships ever. To be honest with you, I'm 46 years old. He's 21. This kid will still go to see movies with me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's amazing to me. Like he has his friends, he can go with them. When I was younger, I wouldn't have been going to the movies with my father. So that means a lot to me still. But like you said, I have come a long way, and I've struggled. Like I wasn't even good with money at the time. I really sucked with it. It's just you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep moving forward, no matter what. Like there's always going to be some things to knock you down, but you got to get back up. You got to keep getting back up. You got to fight that feeling, man. You got to fight it. And I sit here and I say, I know it's easier said than done because when I was in the situation, you can tell me this crap. You know what I mean? You can tell me that. I'm like, you don't know nothing. But a lot of the people that were telling me didn't go through it. They were just like, oh, just do this, just do that. They didn't go through it. And I'm sorry, but you never understand what it's like to be in a depression until you're actually in one. Anyone that's not in one can never tell you what it's like. They
That's
just
what I
can't.
said. No one wants to be in a depression.
Mm-hmm.
You, you know, it
Yeah.
when it comes, that's why it's such a big thing now because support is so rare. You know, people are afraid to admit that they're depressed. Well, not any longer, but in the past, people were afraid to admit because they get shunned. You
100%.
know, be a man. What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, ladies don't behave like that, and just
Mm-hmm.
scrutinized,
Yep.
and,
Absolutely.
and and it makes it even worse. So
Damn
they
right.
ask you, why are you sheltering yourself? Well, that would be a good reason
Mm-hmm.
because at some point, people may not be looking at you funny, but because of your mindset, they're looking at you funny.
Mm-hmm.
Someone might whisper, you start thinking they're whispering about you,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it starts all downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're going to react or you're going to hold it in till it makes you crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, people were looking
So,
at me funny, bro. They were looking at me funny. I was angry, So I was talking to a girl one time, and she actually went all the way back to my Facebook page. She went way back to the beginning, and she was like, "Oh man, you were angry," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" So she's like, "I went back here," and I went, "You went back to the beginning of my Facebook? Are you kidding me?" So I went back, and I was like, "Damn, damn," and that's the thing. I blamed everybody else, bro.
mhm.
I blamed everybody for some of the situations that I put myself in, and that's the thing. That's when you're in that depression. Once you start doing that, you want to hurt people. I wanted to
Yeah, but
hurt
you
my son's
see,
mother.
you're not the only one.
Oh,
You're not
absolutely.
the only one. And
Absolutely.
this again is the reason for the show, because you
Hmm.
see, a lot of people think are even harder on themselves,
Hmm.
not realizing that they're not alone. This happens 1,000 times a day,
Hmm.
if not more, right?
Yep. 100%. And that's the thing. I felt alone. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna
Mm,
shit on any of the friends that I had, but at the same time, none of them ever like really tried to understand what was going on with me. You know what I mean? When my mom died, um, nobody came. Not one of my friends came to my mom's funeral, bro. That hurt. You know what I mean? Like, where was
mhm,
my support for that? Like, nobody was there. And I love your brother, but he was like, um, he's like, yo, Ford, I tried to make it, but I couldn't do it. I kept putting my stuff on. I kept taking it off. He was like, it was hard for me. So I said, no, I understand. But if it was hard for you, imagine what it was like for me. You know what I mean?
mm.
And
I feel you.
so, but at the same time, I get it. And I don't hold no grudges for that. You know what I mean?
Everybody handles death differently, you know? Like,
Mm
I'm not justifying it because he's my brother, because I'm not too crazy about funerals either, but I
hmm.
still
Mm
make my way there, you know?
hmm. Mm
I didn't know your moms and your dad like that. I think I only really met them just prior, right?
hmm. Mm
Because like I
hmm. Mm
said, you were hanging with my younger brother, very nice people.
hmm.
And for me, it was tragic, you know?
Mm
And
hmm.
I even told you I'm there because, as I stated, you know, you and PJ are two people that I am extremely proud of that came out of that quarter and did what you're doing today. Because, you know, not to say that PJ was in the same boat as you,
Mm hmm.
but, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going to put
yeah,
it
yeah.
out there on here, but you know what I'm talking
Mm
about.
hmm. Mm
And you use that as fuel to get to
hmm.
where you are. And that's the message that should be going out there. Not, come on, man, be a man,
Mm
pick yourself
hmm. Mm
up
hmm.
and do it. Doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like
Mm
that. For
hmm.
me, what worked for me, and I thank the guy who did it, but it took one guy to say, bro, come have a drink with me.
Mm hmm.
And I went out and had a drink with that guy, and we talked. And man, if I went into that bar weighing 240, I came out of there weighing 195.
Mm
I
hmm.
felt so good. I felt
Mm
so
hmm.
good for days on end after, to try and keep that mindset and not go back to like you were doing. Go to work,
Mm hmm.
go to your room, lie in your bed, watch TV. I was sleeping,
Mm hmm.
sleeping,
Mm hmm.
sleeping,
Mm hmm.
sleeping, sleeping,
Yep.
taking
Me too.
naps on naps.
Me too.
And
Me
and you
too.
know what? You know me, Anzo. I've been in the gym for a long time. It's me,
Mm-hmm.
it's but it'll take the biggest, strongest, biggest ego, whatever you want to say. Depression will take you down.
Absolutely.
And if you
100%, bro.
and if you don't put your ego aside and think you're gonna beat it, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I'm sorry.
100%, bro. You are absolutely right. And that's the thing with me too. It beat me down. I slept all day. You know what I mean? If I wasn't working, I slept. I stayed in the house and I slept. You know,
Tell me it didn't affect your work. I
of
was a
course it did.
supervisor. I'm a supervisor sitting at the desk with all my people in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would wake
Mm-hmm.
up like someone shot me because I know I should not be sleeping at this time. I
Mm-hmm.
almost snapped my neck on two occasions when that happened to me. I said something is wrong. And when management spoke to me, I told them straight up, I don't know what's wrong with me. I could honestly tell you I am not sleeping well. Sleeping well to them, probably they think I'm not sleeping enough. I'm sleeping too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sleeping too much
Mm-hmm.
that I can't stay awake.
Yep.
I'm thinking it's, my after activities. It's not even that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
think it's everything but what it really is
Mm-hmm.
until you face that dragon. you're
Hmm.
in denial. You're in denial.
Absolutely. And like you said, affected my work because I
I
used to
got fired.
love working. Yeah, me too. I used to love working at that place. But there were just days where I just didn't give a fuck, bro. You know what I mean? I would just go in and make my calls, whatever, or take my calls because I was more taking calls. But I just didn't care, man, you know? And that's the thing. Like, those things have to be fought against, man. You can't take what you have for granted. I took that job for granted. You know, I was there for like a year. Um, I've been in the top of that place many times, but you know, there were days where I felt good. And I'd go to work and, you know, it'd be a Saturday, Sunday, football's on, and money's just coming in, and I'm looking at the commission I'm going to get. And then I'd go home to myself. And once I get home, everything just would go straight back to my depression again. It would just go straight back to that, you
Hmm.
know? And I don't know if having someone there would have changed that, but it might have helped. At least for that day, maybe having someone to chill and laugh and smoke and do whatever with would have had me not going back to thinking about my situation. But being
Or for
alone,
someone to ask you how you feel and really want to know how you feel and not hope
mhm,
that you talk about how you feel, you know?
yeah, exactly, right. And that's exactly what I'm saying. And there was nobody. So I was just me and my TV. So once I would get there and lie in my bed, all the things would run through my head again, all the things that I've done, all the things that were going on in the situation around me, which I'll get into other shows, but all those things would just come back into my head. And everything that happened for that day, that was a good day, went out the window, you know? And that's the thing, like when you're in a depression, you can have a good day. But the minute you start to think negative again, your whole day becomes for nothing.
Yeah, it's like like a river. It just picks up a flow and goes and gathers up more water, you know, and then it becomes like a tidal wave, a tsunami. Because for whatever reason, if you're bothered about something, other things will trigger you, and
Hmm.
it becomes like a big mat of problems, and it's almost like they're meant to be. Because I don't know about you, but like you said, it's just a matter of the gap, right? It
Hmm.
could be 6 months, 6 days, 6 hours, but it just doesn't happen that something really bad happens and then something really good happens. It's no, something
Hmm.
really bad happens. And then just when you start to breathe, catch your breath, bam, another thing
Something
happens.
bad happens.
And then
Yep.
you're like, I can't believe it. Bam, another thing happens. And
Hmm.
those other things that happen may not be as drastic, but because that one is so big,
Hmm.
the other ones become bigger.
You're
And then
absolutely
you
right.
gather them all up together. And then, you're sitting on the train, the metro, you're looking through people because these thoughts are just running in your head, running
Hmm.
in your head, running in your head. You get
Yeah,
home, you
bro.
turn on your TV, you're watching TV. If I ask you what you watched, you probably couldn't even tell me because them things are running in your head,
Hmm.
running like a zombie,
Hmm.
like a zombie.
Hmm.
And the
Not
only
even
time
that.
you're not a zombie is when you're sleeping.
Yeah, and not even tell you what I watched, what I did. What, like I said, I made so much money, bro. To this day, I couldn't tell you what the hell I did with that money that I was making. But to answer Danny's question, no, we're not saying depression makes you sleepy, but you sleep a lot. That's what you do when you're in a depression. You sleep a lot. Like you'll come home and
Because,
you don't want to bother with people, and sleeping makes you not think about the issues that you were going through.
well, for me, how it was is that, even if I was on a couch, I would find myself in a position where I am like laid down. And I tell you, as soon as my head hits the pillow and I focus on that TV for a minute or two,
Hmm.
I'm out. I don't even know I'm out.
Yeah.
And to wake up and still be tired and not want to go. I mean, it's not wanting to go anywhere that
Hmm.
keeps you home.
Hmm.
By being home makes you sleep.
Hmm.
It's like a downfall of repetitions.
Hmm. I didn't want to go
Unless
anywhere. You're absolutely right. I had to
you
force
see, it's
myself
it's
to go outside.
it's both. We both went through it, so it's not hereditary. It's not because you and I grew up together. in the same neighborhood. I mean, there's thousands of people going through this, thousands. But who are you going to talk to about it without being shunned, like we said?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Danny saying if you watch. All right, Danny, we're trying to have a
Thanks
serious
for bringing the
conversation.
laughing. Love you, Daddy.
Danny, you're a joker. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to see people. And like I said, people were talking. Like when I lost my job and I was broke, bro. I literally went days where I wasn't eating. I didn't have money for food. You know what I mean? And if I had to choose between food and weed, I would have took the weed, right? Because the weed
The
kept
weed
me
suppresses your thoughts.
exactly. So sometimes I was fucking going to the store and I was stealing food, bro. To be honest with you, I steal like a thing of salami and make sandwiches and shit like that just to eat. And um, so that again, I started losing weight. And with the
I
Facebook
remember.
post,
I
with
remember.
with the Facebook posts that I was posting at the time, with the losing weight, I was crazy. I was a crackhead. I was on all kinds of drugs, bro. And I'm like, yo, you see, that's the fucking thing that people can just go and throw a narrative like that. And some people believed it, some people didn't. But the fact that someone who didn't even know me, like I went to school with this person and just happened to see me on the street and said that was their first thought. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, that just shows you, especially for me, like you can't always depend on people. You actually have to um, work on it yourself. You know what I mean? People can try and talk to you and this and that, but if you ain't ready, it's not going to happen. You have to
It's
be
all
ready for it.
it's all about that spark. If you don't allow people to talk to you, then you can't get that spark. But you
Mhm,
have to let people talk to you, and you filter the good, the bad, as they call it, who's pitching you, just trying
mhm.
to make the most off of your depression. Uh,
You're wearing the wrap. I was wearing
Thank you
Raptors
very much.
too. I wore Raptors hat yesterday too.
Did you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I got like 3 Raptors hats. Thank you very much. I don't have a
Thank
championship.
you. Thank you. But on that, oh,
Danny, serious talk. When I went through the Marines, I first got out of. Hold on. Serious talk. When I went through that, when I first got out of the Marines, I slept a lot. It it makes me feel normal. My thoughts would race, and I couldn't control them. Made me think I was going crazy. Yeah, that's basically what happens. You know, like I said earlier, your mind can trick you into believing things that aren't true. It did it to me. I would sit down there and I would think, "Oh, I'm a fuck up. I'm this. I'm that," and I believed it. I believed it. I
and let
believed
me
the
ask
shit.
you, were you at any point were you ever hard on yourself? Because I know I used to sit there and literally slap myself in the face and say, "What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you?" You used to tell people that go through this all the time, "Get out of it, get out of it. What's wrong with you?" And I'm telling you, this went on for days that I'd be slapping myself in the face
Mhm.
with no results. Like, is this depression?
More, yeah, it is. You see,
You know,
everybody, like I said, everybody has depressions that are different, right? Some
there's
people
forms of
handle them
depression.
right, and some people handle them a lot different than others. I literally hit rock bottom. Like I was rock bottom, bro. Trust me, I was rock bottom. I I dug myself out of that. I dug myself out of that.
PTSD.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's exactly what it was, Danny. And that too, I don't know much about it, but I know that's a motherfucker. PTSD is a motherfucker, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's a whole nother talk. Nothing I'm qualified for.
yeah, me neither. But hey, if you ever want to come and talk about it, that's what we're doing on this show. So absolutely, you know, I
Meds
was
Mama
told
Bear
so,
said something.
yeah, I was told so much that other people can do it. Why can't you? That's true too. That's what they say.
That's a stigma. That's the stigma,
Mm-hmm.
because what, everybody classifies themselves as normal. As long as you're doing it by yourself, then yes, you're normal. But, normal is based on a majority. At least society states so, right? So who are you to tell me how I'm acting is indifferent? Have you
Absolutely.
ever gone through this situation to say, hey, I've gone through it. This is what I recommend you do? That
Mm-hmm.
would be the right thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
I
Absolutely.
know times are different. I grew up in a time where you just couldn't say that because you were
Be a man.
considered weak. You're considered
Yeah.
weak. And
Yeah.
trust me, the wolves will pick on that. They will pick
Mm-hmm.
on it. And all you'll be doing is defending yourself. So rather than say anything, you just keep quiet, take it
Mm-hmm.
home with you. When you come
Mm-hmm.
out, you put up your shield, you put up
Mm-hmm.
your whatever you want to call it, and play the role. But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, you want to know a true person's existence? Go in their home.
Mm-hmm.
Go in their home, because a lot of people are great actors. They will come out having you thinking they're rich, they're
Mm-hmm.
stable,
Mm-hmm.
they got everything going together. As soon as they close the door to their house, the reality show kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
Danny.
them,
Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead. Finish what you're saying.
a lot of them are perpetrators.
Absolutely. I want to touch on this one because this is the thing I was just about to say. Danny said, depression makes you think you're weak, takes your confidence. My cousin pulled me out of it. He would not let me just sit around. He made me do things and would talk to me until I got better. And that's exactly it. I felt so weak when I was in my depression, bro. I felt so weak. I felt weak. And the thing about it is, the fact that I didn't do what I wanted to do, which was kill myself, made me actually stronger than I thought I was. And I remember I went to my sister's 50th birthday party, and I did not want to go, man. I really did not want to go. But she begged me to come. I said, okay, you know what? I'll come. It's your 50th birthday party. I'll be there. And again, it was another thing that I was just going through the motions. Family friend walks up to me and he's like, man, if you had went through, or no, he said, if I had went through everything that you went through, I would have killed myself. Now, I get what he was trying to say, but at the time, I was like, really? Like, I'm thinking that. I don't know if he knew that that's what I was thinking. But at the same time, that's what I was thinking of doing. You're
That's
telling me
almost like giving you a green light to go ahead and do it.
exactly. That's how I took it at the time. Now I take
That's
it as he
scary.
was
That's scary.
right. Absolutely. Now I take it as he was trying to say I was strong, in a
Yeah.
certain type of
It's
way.
just the message. It's just the message.
The way you
You
say
know,
it.
if
Mm-hmm.
people take the time to consider the situation before they speak, their words won't be so harmful. The message won't be so misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just, it's like somebody dies and you say congrats.
Mm-hmm.
you know, you don't
Mm-hmm.
mean it as, it doesn't matter how you mean it. It's how it's
Mm-hmm.
taken.
Yep.
You don't
One.
know how the other person is on the other side. It's called being considerate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then
100%.
again, it's the times we grew up in, because in all honesty, a lot of that stuff probably wouldn't happen today, because everyone has to be careful
Mm-hmm.
of what you say.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very sensitive time. And,
Mm-hmm.
thankful for that. A lot of people are taking depression more seriously, because
Seriously.
more people are coming out and speaking
Mm-hmm.
out. You got professionals speaking out, actors speaking out,
Mm-hmm.
athletes, all walks coming out, and they're still looked upon as, super
Yeah, yeah.
athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to know their story, how they got
Mm-hmm.
over it.
Mm-hmm.
And, the stories are strong. It makes you feel again like you're not alone. The
That's
last thing you
exactly
want to
it.
feel is alone. Because
That's
as
exactly it.
Cosmic stated, Onzo stated, I stated, if you don't allow people to take you out of it, then you won't get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not to say the first person that comes is going to get you out of it, nor the 13th. It's the one that you feel is sincere in their request to help you. Someone
And
who's going to sit across from you and listen to you when you speak,
mhm,
not just bring you out for a beer to have laughs and see who you're going to pick up and who's hot and what this one's wearing.
mhm.
The beer is just to get out. If they're emphasizing on the alcohol, then it's bad intentions
I
because
was
alcohol is
very
going to
good.
bring you right back.
Yeah, it will, especially when you're alone. Maybe not at the moment, but
You
once you
get home
get
and you're
well,
drunk alone, I
alone, yeah,
guarantee you, you're
yeah,
demolishing your apartment. I
yeah,
guarantee you.
and that's the thing. I didn't also let people talk to me, bro. Like, you know, I really didn't let people talk to me. Like I said, I cut some people off, and the way some people had handled me or spoke about me and tried to deal with me turned me off from everybody. It really did. So that's one of the reasons why I was really and truly completely alone. You know what I mean? My son was too young to ever help me in certain ways, or someone I could talk to about that. Maybe now I could sit there and I could talk to him like, yeah, this and that, blah, 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 whatever. But at the time, he was too young. And then again, we weren't speaking for like 7 months, anyways. But he's always been defending me. Like, he always, from he was a baby, he always defended me.
Mhm.
And after
Your
I
kids
got,
make you strong, man.
they do.
Your
They
kids make you
really do.
strong.
They really do. Because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have done it. You know what I mean? If I didn't have him.
Oh, I could tell you, there's plenty of times that my kids either kept me out of jail or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always think about how they're going to suffer if something happens to me. And
Mm-hmm.
the last thing I want them to do is to suffer. So it's a win-win result, right? It's a blessing.
100%. Yep. 100%. That's why I say to this day, like, you know, I'm glad. Like, that's the best thing I've ever done in my life was him. Hands
I'd
down.
rather be poor and see my kids than rich and
Never see them at all.
not, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I went 7 months and that broke me, you know, broke me.
I went almost 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
I know.
I went on vacation to try and forget it. Even now, just thinking back is just, touching the back of my eye a bit with like water. So if you see
Mm-hmm.
something come, it's because I have this fan blowing right in my face. If you see a tear drop out, okay? But I went to Cuba with all my hockey buddies, and it was for me to forget this chapter that I never foreseen coming. I just really didn't see it coming, and that's when it hurts the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was on vacation, the first 2, 3 days,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
nothing was on my mind, nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
Mm-hmm.
knew that I was with a bunch of guys having fun, so this is fun.
Mm-hmm.
One night, we were going to the bar, and I don't know what just happened. I just started running. I just started running and running. And the more they called me, where am I going? What am I doing? The faster I ran. And I ran to a point where I was like, where the fuck am I?
Mm-hmm.
I was in like, I swear to God, I felt like I was in a zombie scene. I was in all these little huts, empty huts, as far as I could see. And it's the only reason there's light is because of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I just sat down and started crying, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time I looked up, I saw my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was killing me. I was, Anzo, who knows how long I would have sat there crying if my buddy didn't come around the corner and ask me, what am I doing? There was
Mm-hmm.
one guy, and it's the guy you least expected. That one guy didn't give up looking for me, and he found me
Mm-hmm.
because I would have stayed there till the sun came up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Bro.
why. I
No,
don't know
I
why.
know. I know. I used to walk around,
That
bro.
has to do with something keeping it in, right?
Yeah, yeah. Holding in your feelings, and that's another thing too, man. Again, I don't want to throw people in the bus or anything, but at the same time, we weren't in good terms, right? But my son's mother used to always like get on me for crying, bro. Used to always get on me for crying, like, oh, stop crying, be a man, do this and do that, and
Uh,
bro, I'm like, listen, man. If I hold this stuff in, if you hold your pain and your anger in, it's gonna
You
kill
get
you in
sick.
the end.
You
It's gonna
get
kill
sick.
you. It's gonna kill you, man. You can't. And that's what
You
I
have to
did for a
laugh.
long time. Held it in.
You have to laugh. You have to cry. You have
Mm-hmm.
to rejoice. You have to experience all the emotions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes crying is good, man. Because when you
Mm-hmm.
hold that in, tell me it doesn't feel funny inside. Tell me you don't feel like if I keep
Mm-hmm.
doing this, something's gonna happen.
100%.
Because those people end up on medication. Those people end up
Mm-hmm.
suddenly passing without resolution. Like, what happened? This guy was healthy as a horse. How did he just suddenly die? Who knows what secrets this guy's keeping? Who knows
One.
how many sleepless nights this guy has at home that he's not willing to share with anybody because they're all
Mm-hmm.
telling him, yo, look at you, man. Be a man. Look at you, big guy like you crying.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
Mm-hmm.
man. What's
Mm-hmm.
wrong with crying? What's wrong with crying? I know I'm ugly when I cry. I
Mm-hmm.
just realized that because I look in the mirror. I said, how come they don't look like that on TV? Because, man, nobody wants to look at me when I'm crying because they want to say, hey, go cry somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But
100%.
my point being is, it felt good.
Mm-hmm.
Not the time I was lying in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
That was feeling sorry for myself
Mm-hmm.
because I'm asking all these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I know the
Mm-hmm.
answers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just too lazy. I'm too in this zone of not wanting to do anything. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If you call me at that time and you didn't have your name on my phone,
I wouldn't
you'll never
answer.
speak
Yeah,
to me. You'll never
absolutely.
speak to me. I have my
Absolutely.
messenger going bing, bing, bing because I just looked at my Facebook. I don't know. Maybe they see I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
They went, hey, man, let's answer your phone. Answer your phone. Answer. Listen, I don't want to talk to you. You're
Mm-hmm.
not paying my phone bill.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
if
didn't
I
want
didn't
to
have
talk
a
to
cell
anybody
phone,
either.
then what? I didn't want to talk to nobody,
Yep.
nobody. But I needed my kids to have access to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only reason I had a cell phone. Because the few
Mm-hmm.
times I didn't have it with me, I felt like I was on an island.
No, I feel you, bro. 100%.
It felt,
Yeah.
if I felt free, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And that's the thing. At the time, I didn't really have that issue because nobody was contacting me anyways. So I could have left my phone on all day and no one would contact me. You know what I mean? Like nobody, bro. Nobody.
But every,
My phone consists of me calling and harassing my son's mother. That's what my
okay.
phone was for at the time. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, I wanted her back. I couldn't deal with it. And after losing everything, she was my rock. You know what I mean? Like she was the one that held it down for me when my mom died. She was the one that held it down for me when my dad died, and then when my dog passed away and shit like that. So when she left, which was my fault hands down. That's why I say um, I regret
Now
certain
that's
things in my
being a
life.
man.
Hmm?
Now that's being a man right
Oh,
there.
I can't
Fessing
deny
up it.
that.
No, but you know what? If you're going to use that title, use it for something like that. Now that's
Mm-hmm,
being a
mm-hmm,
man, standing up
mm-hmm,
and admitting your faults, man. We're
mm-hmm.
not perfect.
100%. You know what I mean? And she never came back to me, and she had every right not to. For after what I did, she had every right not to come back to me, and I blamed her for not coming back to me. You understand? I took
Hmm.
it out on her. So I wanted her to hurt, and when I realized that I couldn't hurt her anymore, then I started doing things to hurt my son because I knew hurting my son would hurt her. You know what I mean? And that's how I was when I was in the depression. I wanted her and everybody else around me to hurt
To suffer.
like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But tell me, you think, again, you're not the only one.
Oh, I
You're
know.
not the
I
only
know.
one.
I know. And that's
Anyone who
why.
called me because I wasn't around anymore, that's the only reason why they were calling me, wondering where I was, because I was always a guy who was out.
Mm-hmm.
I go check my
Mm-hmm.
friends all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wasn't checking anybody because I didn't want anybody to know my situation. I didn't want to have to answer
100%.
to why now I'm available when I wasn't before.
Mm-hmm.
Why now all of a sudden I'm always around? What
Mm-hmm.
now? Because something happened. You're always around. What you're only coming
Mm-hmm.
around now because what? Your girl
Mm-hmm.
left you or something? And
Mm-hmm.
usually the minute he says
Mm-hmm.
that, I'm chewing a chunk out of his cheek. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's how. Don't
Mm-hmm.
say the wrong things to me. So what do I say
Mm-hmm.
to myself? Stay away from these people. And by doing that, you got to stay home, stay out of trouble. But
And,
it's bigger trouble.
yeah, and that's the thing. You never told me about your situation either. I think one
I
day
didn't
I
tell
asked you,
anybody.
and I'm like, bro, you all right? And that's when we had the conversation, and you were like, what happened? And I was like, oh shit, fuck. You know what I mean?
But
And
why are you going to tell? Because in all honesty, Anzo,
mhm,
when you see somebody you haven't seen in a while and they ask you what's up, what you been up to, do you really think they're going to stand there to hear really what's going on?
no, they don't care. You
So
know what I
it's
mean? Yeah,
just
yeah,
it's just a common greeting. Like I tell my
yeah, yeah.
wife all the time, you don't have to say hi, how are you back to someone when they say it to you because you're really interested. It's just
Hmm.
called common courtesy, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
But when someone says, "Hey, what's up?"
Hmm.
They know something's
Hmm.
wrong. They don't
Hmm.
ask you. They know. Now it's
Hmm.
up to you to decide, "Hey, this guy's sincere and asking me. Here's my opportunity to get this shit off of my chest because it's killing me. It's
Hmm.
killing me. It's weighing me down." And then when you
Hmm.
do it, it's a revelation.
Hmm.
Oh, it doesn't even matter what they say to you, just to say it,
Yeah, yeah.
just to just to get it off of your chest.
Hmm.
That's the
That's
selling point.
exactly it. That's 100. Good one.
But
But
on a
that's
serious
exactly
note, you
it.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know what I mean?
Because we
Sometimes
are
you
our
gotta
own
get it
worst
off your
enemy.
chest.
We
Hmm.
are our own worst enemy, especially in positions of demise.
Hmm.
You will slap yourself for forgetting your key in the door, but the 1,000 times you never did, you never gave yourself credit once.
Yeah, for real.
Do you know what I mean? I
Hmm.
mean, it's kind of anal a way looking at it, but it's the truth.
Hmm.
We are so quick to persecute ourselves before we give ourselves any credit for anything we do in our day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Anything, you know?
Hmm. And that's why I say many times it's like, yeah, I've been through that depression, and I wouldn't wish a depression on my worst enemy. But at the
And you want to
same
help.
time, I do want to help. But at the same time, if I didn't go through that, I would not be the person I am today. I can guarantee that. I would
Word.
still be that
That's the truth.
cocky. I would still be that cocky. I can get away with anything. I was humble, but I was arrogant at the same time. That
I
shit
could
is gone.
attest to that. Yeah, it's still a bit there on different shows, but you know, it's the criteria. But still, you know what?
Mhm.
What I noticed you changed is you don't carry it with you.
Mhm.
Before you would carry it with you like a badge, you know? Even
Mhm.
when you bounce up with you like a week or a month later, I'd see it in your face. He's still
Mhm.
carrying that with him, but I
Mhm.
didn't know what you were going through. And I
Mhm.
could say at the same time, you chose not to share it with me. So you cannot blame me for the outcome if it didn't go the way it should have, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
of
way I
course.
am. And
But
I'll tell people after, listen, when you saw me that time, I was in a really bad place. And
mhm.
uh, the fact that I'm over it, I really don't want to talk about it anymore. You know, it's a chapter that I
Mhm.
closed and it's a new beginning. And, you know, I'm trying to stay positive in my thoughts.
Mhm. 100%. And that's the thing. I lost my train of thought. What I was gonna say, but
Sorry.
no, it wasn't you. It was a comment in the thing, right? Uh, Ostinator says he graduated from high school today, but it don't feel right. Probably because of the way the situation is, but
It's the times.
it's the times, right? But even though you graduated, hold that in high regards, bro. You graduated from high school. Now you
You
move
got
on
that
to do,
paper. That's the end
yeah,
result.
exactly. Move on to do bigger and better things. But be glad you graduated from high school. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. So hold that high. Don't worry about how you got there. Just worry about that you got there.
Because
You know.
everybody's aware, you know, 2020, nothing has gone normal. So,
Mhm.
you know, for you to not have your graduation as my daughter didn't have, it's very unfortunate. But, you know, I
Mhm.
remind her all the time, you're still a graduate. Your marks are still the same. We are still
Mhm.
proud of you. So as we
Mhm.
are proud of you,
Mhm.
do what you can make with it, you know?
100%. I'm definitely proud of you, Austin, because this guy has been a supporter of mine for a long time. So I'm happy for you, man. Hold that. Don't worry about how you got there. Just worry about that you got there. And that's another thing that goes into being in a depression, right? Like you can get out of it. You just got to keep fighting. I know you won't see the end. It's hard. It's so hard to see the end, bro. Like that tunnel for me was deep, was long. It was really long. And even when I started to see the light, I still was doing some shit that I was in a depression with, you know what I mean? And how I completely broke out of it, I want to say it for another show, but I'll tell you how I completely got out of it. I'll just break on a little bit. I was harassing my son's mother. Okay, I was harassing her. I was when I moved
You're a
into
bit
that one and a
choppy.
half. Oh, I'm a bit choppy. Okay, when I
Yeah.
moved into that one and a half, it was like 2 blocks away from where she lived. So I was harassing her. I was spying on her. You know what I mean? Trying to see who she's dealing with, stuff like that. Got caught. She called the cops. First time it happened, I stayed in there for like an hour. They let me go. Second time it happened, they kept me overnight. So I'm in the jail cell, and anybody that knows me, I am claustrophobic to the max. I was going crazy in that cell. And all I could think about was saying, okay, so if you're gonna put me in this situation for just doing something, and she knew I wouldn't ever hurt her, but I get it. She was scared. I can't take that from her. I have to admit that because I was doing some shit that would scare her. I understand that, right? So I'm sitting in there, and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna be put in jail for something that I didn't really do, then I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna beat her ass. That was my thought. My thought process was through the whole time. I can't believe because I figured I'd be in there an hour and they would let me go. But now that's 1 hour passing, it's 2 hour passing, it's 3 hour passing. My heart is pumping. I hate being in that cell. I can't sleep. It's like what 12 o'clock at night that when they pick me up. You know what I mean? So I'm
Hmm.
in there and all these thoughts are just going through my head. Then I don't know what time it is. Some guy comes in and he's screaming, he's yelling, he's going crazy. They lock him up in this little room was just a door because they didn't want to put him in a cell because he had blood all over his shirt. So I hear them telling him, we can't put you in a cell because we don't want you to go near water. But he's screaming, he's yelling, oh my God, blah, 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 get me out of here, get me out of here. So finally they said, okay, you know what? They put him in a cell. So while he's in the cell, he's like, I'm sorry, I can't believe this. It's not my fault. The cops come over and they say, so and so, you are under arrest because she died. And every thought that I had in my head about what I wanted to do to her went right out the window. I was in a
You
cell
think
with
that
white.
wasn't a message? You
It
get a lot of
absolutely
messages,
was.
man.
It
You get a
absolutely was
lot
a
of
message, bro.
messages.
It absolutely was a message. I do not deny that till this day. What are the chances of that happening? Not only that, when I knew they were looking for me, I was gonna run. I was gonna go chill by this girl's house for the night and just hide out. But I said nope. I didn't want to do that because then they put a warrant out me, come check me every day. I said, I'm gonna face what's happening to me that night. So I was like, man, and I was in the cell with a white dude at the same time, and we both looked at each other and were like, "Did you hear that?" And he's like, "Yup." And then like all the shit, everything in my mind's out of my head. I get home and I go on the internet because I knew the guy's name. I heard his name. I won't say it on here, but I knew the guy's name. Went home, got on the internet. I Googled it. That woman lived in the same area in NDG that I did. I'm like, if
No
that was
way.
not a fucking sign, bro, she lived like where I live now. I lived somewhere different before when it happened, but where I live now, blocks away, 2 or 3 blocks away from me.
Wow.
And I was like, if that is not a sign, I never, from that day, I never messed with my son's mother again. Never. I moved on. It still bothered me. There were times where I would think about her with another man and my heart would just beat. It would just beat. I would lose my breath. I couldn't breathe. You understand? And I had to get over that. And
But you
I did.
see, this is what I was talking about. We create our own thoughts because you didn't actually see her with another man. You put that thought in your head.
Mhm.
It's almost
Mhm.
like your brain,
Mhm.
because you went through
Mhm.
it for so long, it was hungering for that impulse.
Mhm.
And then you think about it, and then bam, you're comfortable.
Mhm.
Your blood
Mhm.
circulating now, your heart's pumping. But
Mhm.
you think you're comfortable, but you're really doing
Mhm.
damage because your heart is pumping
Mhm.
with rage, right?
Mhm. Every
And
time
it's a matter
I
of time before your brain loses thought and then you react.
exactly, and every time I spied and went by her place, I was like, she's not home. I could see there's no light on or anything. Oh, who's she with? What guy is she with? She's with a dude. She's with this. She's with that. And my
And you could have
mind
went
just
by any other street. You made yourself go by that street
yeah, yeah,
just to
absolutely,
satisfy that torture.
all the time,
It's we. That's what I said, Anzo.
all
We
the time.
torture ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you had taken the time, because this is what I would do, to say, is she wondering what I'm doing? I don't think so. Is
Oh,
she not
oh,
going
she.
on with her life while I'm sitting here wondering what she's doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. She's doing
Mm-hmm.
everything right, and look what
Mm-hmm.
she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So she's winning
Mm-hmm.
twice.
Yep,
I said,
100%,
hell no. I said, hell
one hundred
no.
percent.
Anytime she came to thought, I thought about something like fantasy football,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something that gives me pleasure. Think of
Mm-hmm.
something. And you know what? I was doing that for weeks, trying
Mm-hmm.
to persuade myself to not think because me and my
Mm-hmm.
wife separated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know what thoughts are running through my head?
Mm-hmm.
Who are my kids gonna maybe slip and
It was
call
her
dad?
father. Yeah.
Who's gonna
Mm-hmm.
talk down to my kids? Who's
Yeah.
sleeping in my bed?
Yeah.
All of these
Mm-hmm.
things are running through my head. So
Mm-hmm.
if I keep doing that to myself, what's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm. You're gonna go crazy.
There's
You're gonna go
there's
crazy.
absolutely, tell me, Anzo, there's no chance in God's earth that any good could come from me doing that. So why am I
Mm-hmm.
doing it? When
You're
I start
absolutely
asking
fine.
myself those questions, that's when I stop thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you start accepting it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get over it easier, start wondering what that other person is thinking, what
Mm-hmm.
that other person is actually
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because more times than not, they're getting on with their life. And I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you this, if
Mm-hmm.
it's a spousal thing,
Mm-hmm.
the minute you get on with your life, that person's going to start coming back to you and saying, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you're not stalking me anymore. You're not crazy anymore. You're not
Mm-hmm.
possessive anymore. You sure
Mm-hmm.
you're okay? And then you tell them you moved on with your life, and then all of a sudden everything's good.
Mm-hmm. You're
So
absolutely right.
why don't
We
you
get
just
along great now.
eliminate that chapter? You
Mm-hmm.
know, take
Me
advice
myself,
from two people like us who have gone through it.
right?
You
Exactly.
have to find a path, be
Mm-hmm.
it's a thought, an
Mm-hmm.
action.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do something
Mm-hmm.
because if you're sitting there waiting for something
Mm-hmm.
to happen, it's
Mm-hmm.
not going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get more depressed.
Yeah, you're
You
absolutely right,
need to
man.
speak. You need to talk.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. You need to, like, for me, it wasn't the talk, it was that situation, was a sign. So there's always going to be something that can get you out of it. It's going to be something, whether it's a sign, whether it's a person, you know what I mean? There's something that can bring it. It may take a long time to get to that end. It really might. It took me 5 years. But if you keep fighting, if you keep pushing, you will find it. You will find that spot. You will find that way. You will find it, man. You will
Because,
find it, cuz.
rock bottom has a rock bottom, huh?
Mhm.
It's sad to
Mhm.
say, but rock
Mhm.
bottom has a rock bottom. And it's a
Mhm.
really sad place to live in, man.
Mhm. 100%. I lived in it.
And if
I know.
you know, the richest of rich have gone there, the stable of stablists have gone there.
Mhm.
It's how you rebound from it that the outcome is inevitable, right?
100%. That's the thing. Like I said, you got to rebound. You got to fight. You got to push. You know, I I pushed because of pride. You know what I mean? So whatever gets you to push, push. It was pride that got me to push. It was not wanting to be an embarrassment, living on the streets and having friends walk by and see me and be like, look at this guy. What happened to Hanzo? You know what I mean? I've seen friends that are in those type of situations, and I thank God every day that I'm not, because I
Yeah.
could have easily been there. I could have
Yeah.
easily been in that spot, and I thank God every day that I wasn't. I pushed. I kept
I
going
can almost
forward.
promise you that those guys did not speak to somebody.
I know, I know.
They
And even
tried to
if they
beat it
did,
themselves.
they spoke to the wrong person. They
Yeah.
spoke to the wrong person. They didn't get the sign.
A
I
drug
got my
dealer is
sign.
not the person you want to speak to
Hmm.
because that's just a band-aid. That's not a solution. That's a band-aid.
There's a question here. Did either of you guys get professional help? I didn't. I was told many times to get professional help. But the difference with me is I knew what my problem was. It's not that I didn't know. I just couldn't control it. I couldn't get over it. Like, and nobody, no psychiatrist could tell me. I just wouldn't have listened. You know what I mean? I would have been like, okay, you're telling me stuff I know, but how do I do it? You know what I mean? How do I do it? And I wasn't ready to do it. It was only until I was ready to do it that's when I believe I would have been more. Um, I would have listened to a psychiatrist more. But because I was living in my misery and I didn't see a way out, I was just like, what's the point? You know what I
For
mean?
me, as I stated earlier, I didn't know if I was depressed, you know, and
Hmm.
I think a lot of guys who have ego and, sorry to say, too much pride don't allow themselves to believe they're depressed. And when
Hmm.
you're in denial, then it becomes two things to overcome, your denial and your
Hmm.
depression. For me, I realized it was depression more or less because of this whole Bell Let's Talk.
Hmm.
It had a lot to do with it when guys just came out, and a lot of the stuff that they were going through, I realized I was. Maybe not the same severity, but it made me again realize that I wasn't alone. So it didn't help me find someone to talk to. It just made me realize the after that I was depressed. And how
Hmm.
many people are like me, not knowing they're depressed, thinking that it's
Hmm.
something they could overcome like this?
Hmm.
It doesn't work
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
It doesn't, because nobody, until I allowed it, could get me out of it.
Exactly.
Nobody, not even my parents. Like, they'd
Hmm.
be like, "Why are you home sleeping?" Why? Because I'm tired.
Hmm.
Is there another question coming? Like, I was, like Anza said, mean as fuck to
Hmm.
everybody.
Hmm.
If you ask me a question too many, fuck you.
That's snap.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah, like, and it's not even me. It's not even my
Hmm.
character. But at this
Hmm.
point, nobody's trying to help me. So get on my face and let me be me.
Hmm.
That's how I was.
Hmm.
And again, the sleeping was the one that really scared me because I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing anything where I'm a very active guy. From going very active to
Always.
doing nothing,
Hmm.
and still having access to do it,
Hmm.
that's scary.
Hmm.
You know, if you're a person
Always
who loves
active.
to read and then you just stop reading, I mean, not even picking up a book, not even wanting to see a book, but
Hmm.
before, whatever turned you, you would read a book a day.
Hmm.
That's scary.
100%. And I was good at hiding it, bro. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But I was good at hiding it. I could go to work, be depressed as fuck, but nobody would know. You know what I mean? I would, hey, what's up, man? You doing everything good? Everything good?
Exactly,
But
exactly. That's the
but the
front.
signs, the signs were break and lunch. I was always by myself. I had
Yeah.
friends that I got to work there, right? I brought friends working there. And still, lunchtime and break, I was by myself. But I'm in the office, hey, what's going on? Everything, blah, blah, blah. Break time, boom, I'm gone. I don't wait for nobody. I'm gone. I go on a spot, I smoke my spliff by myself, I go back upstairs. Lunchtime was an hour. That whole hour, I would just be by myself. And those were little signs that people didn't understand. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, why is he always by himself? Uh, just I like to smoke by myself. That would be my excuse. But I'd be up in the office and laughing and cheering. But deep down inside, I was dying. And to
But
get
wasn't
to that,
there
yeah, go ahead.
was there a side of you that said, "Come on, Anzo, you want to chill with those guys. Come on, Anzo, you want to do that."
No.
Because do you see, with me, there was a side of me that, because like it's a ritual after hockey that you chill and you have beers and chill with the boys. It's like a lodge kind of thing.
Mhm.
During this period, I would just get in my car and leave. I wouldn't even say later to the guys. And they started
Mhm.
asking me, "What's up?" And I'm like, like I wouldn't even give an answer. Like, fuck off.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm a grown man.
I
If I want
bounce
to
too.
leave, I'll leave.
Mhm.
But when I'm driving home, I'm like, what's wrong with you, man? You have why are you going home? There's nothing home. You're just going to
Nothing home.
shower and go to bed. You're not going to do anything. So
Mhm.
why are you keep doing this to yourself?
Mhm.
And I
Same
just
thing.
kept doing it week after week after week after week until that one guy said, hey, let's go have a beer.
Mhm.
And I know what he
Sometimes
meant
that's all
through
it
it.
takes. Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes, bro. Like I said, for me, I wasn't worrying about the people around me. So my way of getting out of it was a little bit different. But sometimes that's all it takes. And Mad said she tried getting help. Then this mess started. Ironically, these two are making more sense than a professional. Well, I definitely appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you very much. Because, that being said, the only reason why I personally never did this, I was, again, my worst enemy because I said I needed all kinds of degrees behind me in order for someone to actually honor and respect what I say. But then I realized that if you speak from the heart, as I did in many situations where it enlightened me speaking to somebody and they said, this happened to me,
Mhm.
it's so relieving. It's so relieving. So what life experience, you can't teach that.
Nope.
You can't teach it. So
Nope.
unless you're man enough to fess up and speak the truth, opposed to creating the stigma that you're not affected by emotions. Listen, I cry in movies. I don't care
Yeah,
because it
so do I,
feels
bro.
good. It feels good. Why? Because my body wants to cry. Not because I go in there saying, I want to see this movie because I want to cry today. It's just that anytime it involves family, anything family where there's something bad happening,
Mhm.
tears just drop. Why? Because family is my weakness.
Mhm.
Family is my weakness. Family is everything. And if you can't keep that, that is strong. Family
Mhm.
value is strong. I tell my daughters, no matter how much you think this guy loves you, they'll never love you like your father.
Mhm.
Never. I will jump in front of anything for these guys to live another day.
Mhm.
And I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm just like you, bro. Sometimes I watch a movie and it hits a toll. That fucking pursuit of happiness when he's in the bathroom with his son, that shit kills me every
What's that with
time.
Will Smith?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a scene where he's in the bathroom. He just gets kicked out of his hotel. He has no money, and the only way he can, like, he goes to um, I think it's a train station. And he locks himself in the bathroom, and he's there with his kid, and he's trying to make jokes and play and make a story for a reason why they have to sleep in the fucking bathroom. And when his son falls asleep, he just breaks down and cries, and that shit broke me, brought tears to my eyes. I cried like fuck because my son was young at the time, and everything I
You
was
were
going
close to
through back.
that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that hit home, and man, it broke me. It
But let me
broke me.
ask you a question. 10 years ago, wouldn't you have fought those tears like Bruce Lee?
Um,
My
I don't
face would be
know.
all, don't cry, man. Don't let them see you cry. There's no way I would I'm telling you, I'd be having tantrums to not let a tear come out of my eye. But today, I'll let those tears run like a faucet because
I
I
was
don't care. I don't care. I don't
exactly.
need to prove it doesn't make me less of a man because I cry. Because
Hmm.
I'll tell you this, Anzo. When I get angry to the point where, you could say you're angry,
Hmm. Hmm.
tears come out of my eyes.
Yeah,
And
a
I
lot of
can
people.
honestly say when that happens, people should be aware
Yeah, a lot
because
of
I
people.
don't know what happens after that. Because you
Hmm.
know what kind of people that happens to? People who
Hmm.
are sincere
Hmm.
and are very emotional.
Hmm.
Like, when I love you, I really love you. When I like you, I really like you. I don't
Hmm.
just use it as a stamp. I use it as truth, right? So when you do something to me and you bring tears to me, it's because I can't believe that you would do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Or you're you want to bust this guy up, but you're holding it in because you know what
That's
busting this
right.
guy up is
That's
gonna
right.
do.
Like
You know what I
if I
mean?
were
It's like,
to
oh,
if if I were to launch on you, you wouldn't understand the rage. You'd be like, "What,
mhm,
man? What did I do?"
mhm,
Because you don't realize the trust I instilled or whatever I instilled in you when you let me down.
yep.
Because I don't, you just don't do that for everybody, right? At least I
Mm-hmm,
don't.
mm-hmm. Nah, I know.
I like to say I'm unique. I'm not easy to get along with. I tell my wife all the time, thank you for accepting me. Because I know I am not easy, right? But the one thing I could say is I'm righteous and I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I speak my
That's how you have
piece.
to be. That's how you have to
And,
be.
if somebody else tells her otherwise, I hope she realizes that's not my husband because those paths that I walk. I
Mm-hmm,
believe in to each his own. If it makes you happy, I'm happy for you. I'm not going to tell you what makes me happy and tell you how to follow it. I'm
mm-hmm.
not your keeper.
Right.
But if you're
Because what
happy in
makes
your own skin, I'm happy for you. Let's just leave it at that.
hmm
Right?
And that's why I say, like, a lot of people, they try to do things to make people happy, you know? And I'm like, listen, you cannot do that. You have to be yourself because no matter how good you try to be, there's always going to be someone that dislikes you. So you live your life for you. You know what I mean? If you're thinking you're nerdy or you're geeky and people don't like that about you, who gives a fuck what they think? Fuck that. I learned a long time ago that no matter how good you are, you could be the most righteous person, people will still talk about you. You did it to me. They still talk about me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I went through my
Yep.
depression, and instead of anybody trying to figure out, like, maybe he's going through some shit, no, the first thing they said was he was on drugs, he was on this, he was on that. You know what I mean? So, no matter what you do, you just got to do what you do to make yourself happy. And it doesn't
You need
matter
to
if you
stop
like
worrying about what people think
think
because they will
about you.
think
Yeah,
whatever they want to think. You cannot control that. You can't.
100%.
As long as they don't have an effect physically on your life, you should not
Mhm.
give them the power of even acknowledging what they're saying. To that young man who
100%.
said he graduated, you should be proud. You
Hmm.
graduated in a way unlike any other.
Yeah,
You could say you're
100%.
unique.
Yeah,
And again,
100%.
make the most of what you have.
Hmm. Exactly. That's what I'm telling you, bro. Like, who cares what people think? You know what I mean? If you do what you got to do and you're happy with your life, who gives a fuck? If you like Star Wars, like Star Wars. If you like fucking cartoons, video games, or whatever, then like what you like and don't give a fuck what people say. Because even if you were doing the things that they wanted you to do, they would still find another way to hate on you. They just
You
would.
know, on another note, Anzo, I just wanted to bring this up because it's inspirational. I went into this, that building 999 Alexis Neon in Saint Laurent,
Yeah.
just off the highway.
Mm-hmm.
I went into this building one day to a seminar, and sorry, excuse me. This young gentleman screams out, "Mendez, Mendez, Roberto!" I turn around, and he looked familiar, but I didn't remember his name. And it was very insulting, because this guy called
Mm-hmm.
out my full name. I can't
Mm-hmm.
even remember his first
Yeah.
name, right?
Yeah.
So, because of that reason, I went over to acknowledge him, and he goes to me, "How you been, man? It's a long time. I haven't seen you since Saitel." I go, "Okay, so it's from Saitel. That's what I remember. I know this guy." He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"I just want to tell you something." He goes, "You were a real inspiration for me at Saitel."
Mm-hmm.
Really? He never gave me that impression because he was like a happy, jokey kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "You inspired me, showing me that a black man could hold a position of power and not exploit it. Treat
Mm-hmm.
everybody equally." And you've worked with me before. You know how I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, I inspired him so much that he works for a diamond company and he
Oh yeah.
travels the world. I don't remember exactly what he does, but to
Mm-hmm.
know that I inspired this kid to know that he could do whatever he went from Saitel,
Mm-hmm.
so he must have been in his 20s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like 10, 15 years later, you're working for a diamond company and you want to give me the gratitude that I inspired you. If I can do that to that one guy, I hope I could do the same on our show.
Yeah, me too, 100%. Like I said before, I went on Rob's show, and the guy that came in our the white dude Rob that came into the show today.
Oh, today?
That's yeah, that's the one that we stream with all the time, you know. And I went on his show and can't remember what it got into, but I mentioned some of the issues that I had, and there was someone in there that was like, "Oh, I am inspired by you," and that's when I thought about doing the show. And I had talked to Danny about it before you came on. I was like, "Listen, Danny, I want to do like every 10, 50 episode, I want to do something like this, right?" But then after me and you started talking, and it's like, well, you know what? Maybe we should just make a whole show out of it because we were basically on the same page with it. You know what I mean? So I said, all right, so let's just do a whole show on it, and we'll do topics, we'll do different things, we'll try and get into different things. You know, I haven't experienced everything, but things that I haven't experienced, you have. Things that you haven't experienced, I have. Right? So that way we can
Hopefully,
throw off each other.
we get some more viewers eventually and they
We
pose
will.
some really interesting questions that some of
We
our
will.
listeners and viewers can answer if we can't, because again, we don't have the degrees. I like to think being a sponge to life is a good way to follow a path,
Mm-hmm.
and knowledge is power. So uh, I don't think I know everything. I'm always willing to learn. Anzo's experience to me is something that, touches my heart and makes me be sympathetic or empathetic. Well, sorry, sympathetic to those in the same situation. And, stop and think before you talk when you see people you haven't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Be considerate to that. They may be going through something that, if you said it 15 years ago, it would be funny, but today it's not necessarily so funny. So,
Mm-hmm.
be considerate. Know that you could always talk to somebody, and
And
hopefully, oh, go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna say, and
And
that's another
hopefully,
thing to come off of what you were saying is like you can't even look at people like what I was doing when I was in my depression. I would look at people, and I know this is bad, but I used to look at old women and be like, "How come you're alive and my mom is not?" You know what I mean? How come you're like 80 years old? You can like my mom was 63 and she's not. And what I'm
we have
saying is,
some fucked up questions, huh?
yeah, we do. And you can't look at people and think that people are happy. Like people look happy. You walk down the street, oh, this person's happy. Why is this person happy and I'm not? We don't know if that person is really happy though. You understand? That person could be hurting inside just as much as you are. And this is what I was doing. I used to hate it. I'd be seeing people walking down the street, holding hands, all happy
Say
and
what the
cheerful.
fuck
I'm
they
like,
so happy about, eh? I
you know
used
what
to
I
do
mean?
it too.
Like,
The fuck you smiling? Why you so happy?
why the fuck you happy and I'm not? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Why the fuck do you get
wasn't
blessings
necessarily
and I
the
get
why
mine
I'm
taken
not.
away?
I'm just that's why the fuck are you happy?
Me, it was why am I not? I
Okay,
always compared everything to me. That's why my depression got as
those are
deep as
some
it did.
those are harder questions when you're
Right.
making a comparison to you. Because as I tell my daughters all the time, society is all about beauty, and you're as beautiful as you realize you are. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be as beautiful as the next person. it's
Mm-hmm.
it's called beauty in yourself, right? If
Yeah.
you believe you're
100%.
beautiful, you will shine and glow differently. If you
Mm-hmm.
think you're ugly, you give off those hormones that you're ugly.
100%, bro. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you look at some women and they just have that confidence, whether they look good or not, and that
Yes,
confidence makes them look a
look
whole lot better.
better.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they have that glow.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And I didn't have that. I lost. I didn't have
No,
no glow.
but you
I
see,
was
the
dark.
people who care about you could see that you don't have that glow. They could see the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're going to be persistent. They're going to ask you, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk? You sure you're okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the real ones will not give up.
Mm-hmm.
They might not
You're
get
right.
you to talk, but they'll get you to open up to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Or they won't stop until you do. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? Unfortunately,
But then
I
again,
didn't
that
have
could
that.
cause a problem too, right?
Yeah, it can because I again I didn't have that, but you're right. If I did have that, would I have
Depending the
accepted?
state you're exactly depending on
Would
the
I have
state you were in.
accepted it? And at that point, you could have said something wrong to me, and I would have just snapped, bro. And you may not even said it in a way to like disrespect or anything, but I would have took it that way, and it would just been like, "Fuck you! Who the fuck you think you're talking to?" You know, I was ready to snap at people at hands down.
If you would have looked at me long enough, I would have saw it in your eyes.
You know, a
Because the
lot of
eyes
people.
don't lie. The
Mm-hmm,
eyes don't lie.
100%.
I'm telling you. Because you know what? I walked up to this guy in the gym. I just met him maybe 2 months ago. I was we were all more or less in the same boat, marital problems, right?
Mm-hmm,
But I didn't know he had them. He was just a happy guy. I went up to him to say, yo, how could you afford a trainer every day, man? Are you competing or something? He goes, no, this is how I came to meet this guy, right?
mm-hmm,
So one day I walked into the gym. I looked at him. I said, you okay, man? He looked at me. He looked away. He just started bawling.
mm-hmm,
Grabbed my arm and pulled me in the locker room. I'm like, what's up, man? What's up, man? He goes, me and my wife just divorced. We're married X amount of years, 3 kids. She left me for a younger guy. I'm
mm-hmm,
distraught. I just want to end my life, man.
mm-hmm.
We
You
became
know.
great friends after, I
Mm-hmm,
spent an hour in the locker room with this guy. I
mm-hmm,
could easily said, yo, cheer up, bro. Be a man. Don't worry. There's other women out there and just left.
mm-hmm,
But the fact that he opened up to me, it was my duty to do my job, to be there for him till he told me I got to go, bro.
mm-hmm,
But when we left each other in the gym, there was a smile on his face
mm-hmm.
because I told him, yo, I'm there.
Anytime you need.
You don't know who's going through what you're going through. So after we spoke, this guy he ended up doing my tattoos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen the one on your arm
And
today. I never seen that
yeah,
one before.
we're good friends now, and because the deep talks we had. You have to understand, Anzo. You know how
Mm-hmm.
many guys would make fun that me and him were in the locker room talking for an hour?
Yeah, of course.
Do you even think I realized that I was in there an hour with him?
No, not at all.
Because
Not at
man,
all.
this guy is distraught. When I tell you I saw him a week or 2 weeks prior, he looked like the world was his.
Mm-hmm.
He has a great job, great house, beautiful wife, beautiful family. He did not see this coming, man.
Mm-hmm. And me
When he
tell you
did
this.
see,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. What you saying?
when he did see it, he hired a PI. The PI
Mm-hmm.
gave him information. He was in denial till finally she told him, "Listen, man, you don't seem to be you don't seem to be getting it, so it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in love with you anymore. I found another guy."
Mm-hmm.
And he
I
acted
tell you,
like he
bro.
just got the information.
I tell you, bro. Heartbreak. I lost my mom. I lost my dad. But that heartbreak was a pain that I could never imagine it would hurt so bad.
It's crazy, huh?
Trey Songz has a song "Heart Attack" where he's talking about he loved and it hurts like a heart attack. It fucking
Yeah.
hurts. It
Yes, it
hurts,
does.
man. It hurts. I felt like I was in. I felt like my life wouldn't go on, bro. Like it couldn't go on. How could I go on without the love of my life, bro? How it hurts. It's
Hmm.
crazy. I lost my mom, my dad, and that stuff hurt too, right? But what put me over the edge was losing that 14-year relationship. That's what put me over the edge. You know what I mean?
I think you know why I think it was that was the case because she was there during the times of the others.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that's
that's
just my
exactly right.
opinion. I could
No,
be
you're
wrong
absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. Listen, when my
because she
mom,
was your rock through those 2 episodes.
yeah, absolutely. When my mom was sick, I couldn't, I couldn't have asked for a better person by my side. I couldn't bathe my mom, bro. It's my mom. I couldn't bathe her. She did that. You know, my
Hmm.
mom was stuck in a bed for months. She ended up getting bed sores. She cleaned those bed sores. She did that for my mom. You know what I mean? Like she did a lot for my mother, man. And that's why, what made it hurt worse is that I fucked it up. It was my fault. And that's another thing that hurt a lot more. It's not if, we just had broke
The
up or
guilt,
whatever, it would have hurt.
the
But the
guilt.
fact
Yeah.
that I did that, that was crazy, bro. Yeah, that heartbreak was
But you know
bad.
what, Ford? Anzo, sorry. Either way,
Mhm.
whether you were the cause or you weren't the cause, you still would have persecuted yourself for the outcome
Yeah, I probably
because
would have.
you're the one suffering.
Hmm.
So we're always like I said, we're always hard on ourselves through suffering, not so much when we do good.
100%. And Dandelion Fluff said, I had a close friend with depression and nothing I could do would help. He's doing better now, but I don't think it was me that did it. And that's one of the things I've been saying a lot of the times. Like, even though you try to help and you're there, you got to keep doing it. But unless that person wants to get out, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. But you just have to keep supporting. You have to keep
Well, look
letting
at it
that
like
person know
this.
you're there.
You could be, opening the door for him to consider talking to someone,
To
not
someone, yeah.
necessarily yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you don't make the effort, like for instance, if I'm saying you're my best friend and you're not trying, why should I listen to someone who isn't?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to always find an excuse to
Mm-hmm.
not want to. But if
Mm-hmm.
someone's persistent enough and you're willing to take the time to say, hey, maybe he's trying to tell me something, the next person who says, you want to talk, he'll open up to that person.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can't feel bad for trying. And I would say, don't ever not.
Absolutely. Keep trying. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a little phone call, hey, what's up, man? Doing good? You want to do something? Says no? Fine, no problem. But at least you're there. Anytime you need to talk, holler at me, bro. I'm there for you. Those are the kind of
Yeah.
things that
Keep
help
reminding
more.
them. Keep reminding them.
Right. Those are the things that help more than to be like, yo, come, trying to force conversations and stuff like that, you know? And this one here, I just got out of a relationship last year and wanted to kill myself. Well, first off, True Skills, you are the reason why I'm basically doing this show, because you were the one that said I inspired you. It was him that said I inspired him on my show, which made me decide to want to help other people. And yes, you're absolutely right. When you're in a relationship and you come out of it, it's so hard, man. If you've been, I was with my son's mother for 14 years. That was 14 years of my life. She was actually my first love as well, too. So when she was gone, it felt like my whole world was gone. It felt like
I'll
my
tell
whole world
True Skills
ended.
right now. Any guy who was in a relationship has had his heart broken. The only guy who
Mm-hmm.
could say he hasn't is a guy who was single up till now.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in every man's life, there was a woman who broke his heart unlike he thought it could ever be broken.
100%. And
Yeah.
my
Yes.
son now has been with his girl for like 2 years, and they're doing good. I don't want to ever jinx anything that he's doing, but sometimes I need to let him understand that, yo, if because they're young, man, bro, and there's a good chance that they could stay together for the rest of their life, but majority don't. You know what I mean? And I have to try to show my son that, yo, if that happens, you're my blood. That heartbreak is going to affect you. No matter how he says, no, I'll be good, I'll be good. Nope, it's going to affect you. And the one thing in my family is my dad used to tell me all the time, this is why, like when you said about crying, I've been sensitive as a kid. I never feared crying. You know what I mean? I never feared it. I would cry. But my dad used to tell me all the time, he's like, the Hodges is, we hold in our anger, we hold in our emotions, we hold in this, we hold in that. My dad was the first one to not do that with me. He tried his hardest not to hold in his emotions with me, right? So that's why I can sometimes let out my emotions or whatever. I'm not scared to cry. But we don't
Let me
take
ask you this
heartbreak
one
well.
question.
Hmm.
Is there anything that runs hot that doesn't release without exploding?
No.
For instance, like a kettle,
Yeah, no. Everything.
a high pressure steamer.
Hmm.
Everything that runs hot has to release in order for it not to explode. So
Hmm.
if you think you're going to run hot inside and not release by either crying or talking to someone,
Hmm.
eventually something inside of you is going to explode, and it's unrepairable.
Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right. You can't hold in that stuff. I held in my shit for a long time, bro. And that's why I said there were times where I would just be on the bus or the metro, and out of nowhere I would just start crying. Just start crying because I've held it in for so long that I'm at the point now where I can't hold it in anymore. So I'm in public
It's
crying.
beyond your control. It's beyond your
Mhm.
control.
Mhm.
Everybody, like anything, has a tolerance level, and when
Mhm.
you hit it. If you pour enough water into a cup, that water will overflow. Whether you pour it fast or you pour it slow, it will overflow.
Yep.
It's
100%. And
called the. Is that? I
that's
don't know.
awesome.
My glasses are not strong enough.
Says thank you guys for sharing. You guys are awesome. Don't let anybody tell you guys any different. Thank you, Austinate. I
Respect,
appreciate that.
respect. Thank you.
Dandelion Phelps says, I supported him for years. Eventually, he broke up with me. We're still good friends, and I'm glad he's happy, even if it's not with me. Well, that's just it, you know? I get it. It probably hurt when that happened, but as long as he's happy and you're happy, then that's all that matters. You supported, you tried. You cannot kill yourself because you tried. You tried. That's all
And,
you can do.
and I honestly believe with that happening that through future relationships that you might have, that you'll be able to handle disappointment a
Certain
lot better,
situations better.
you know, because you're going to know not to repeat the outcome in your head when the outcome is not there in the forefront in front of you.
100%. You're absolutely right. Like I said, you learn from your mistakes. You learn from things, you know, not even just mistakes, but just things that happen to you. You learn from them and then you handle them in a situation. Maybe now you'll know you'll handle it a little bit different, you know? So the fact that you stayed there and you supported him, good on you. 100%. And Matt says, if a breakup doesn't affect you, you weren't really in the relationship. Yeah,
Oh, that's hard. That's hard.
it's pretty
It
much true.
it has, you know what? It affects you, but at the same time, you don't want to, you have to get over it, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I used to have a lot of women tell me that I was never really in love with them because I didn't weep. I had to prepare myself or train myself to not have these thoughts because the outcome wasn't good.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like torturing yourself. Why would you want to continuously remind yourself of thoughts that hurt you?
Hmm.
If I ask myself that question and I go, what, I don't want to, then why are you doing it?
Yeah. But
And
I
if
do
you
kind
don't,
of, yeah, go ahead. I do kind of agree with her. It all depends on how deep you are into the relationship. You know what I mean? And it'll affect you differently. Like if you're in a year relationship, a 2 year relationship, you may feel a little bit of hurt. But if you're with in a 14 year relationship, yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
you know what? Sometimes it's the total opposite.
It could be. You're right. It could
Because
be.
you could fall madly in love, and then
And then
that
out of
person
love.
isn't in
Yeah,
love with you.
yeah. Hmm.
That's destruction. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you fall in love with someone, you hope they fall in love with you.
yeah. Hmm.
It's not a matter of everyone gets affected by a relationship. Like,
Hmm.
she's
Hmm.
100% right. If you're not affected, then you were
Hmm.
never really in it to begin with.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah.
it's a matter of how you handle the
You got it.
relationship ending. If you want to sit there and just feel sorry for yourself, and everyone you're around, you're constantly reminding them of how much you loved her and she left you. Eventually, people are going to get sick of being around you and they're going to shun you.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
outcome, unless the outcome is somewhat good, why would you want to do it?
Hmm. And that's the thing. Like you said, it depends. You know what I mean? So you could be with someone for 14 years, and when the relationship ends, you're happy, right?
It's like a
Because
sigh of relief.
yeah, because those whole 14 years you were in a horrible
uh,
relationship. So yeah, it can definitely go both ways. But I mean, even still, like I don't know, even that way you're invested, right? Because now it's gone, you're happy. So there's still some kind of emotional thing there to say, yes, I'm free, right? So you'd have to be invested in that relationship to feel that way. If you're not invested and it ends, it ends. So what? You know what I mean? So I kind of agree with that. Next thing, dandelion fuss. The stress of hiding feelings or being constantly in stress can be a cause of heart disease and other health problems. Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Because anytime I hold it in, that's when my heart gets irregular. And, I tell my wife all the time when she gets a little stressed out and, I try and avoid stress, I could feel it already. Like things smell different. My heart beats irregular. I start to
Mhm.
get like a little tremble. There, it's all these things that are negative, and you want to
Yep.
keep positive in your life, right?
Mhm. Yep.
You
I know,
you
bro.
feel it. You feel
Mhm.
it. It doesn't feel good.
No, not at all. 100%. And that's, like I said, I held in that stress for a long time. And the sign that I told you about, even at that time, I was still holding a lot of anger in. So if I didn't have that sign, I don't know what I would have done, bro. I don't know what I would have done.
I tell you, at some point in my relationship of life, I'm not going to mention the girl's name,
Mm-hmm.
but this girl had me driving my Mustang with the pedal to the floor into the side of a building. And
Mm-hmm.
I just kept saying to her, "You think I won't do it?" And she was saying, "Do it,
Mm-hmm.
do it, do it." I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." And then I was like, "What am I doing?" you know, I don't know what struck me to say, "What am I doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Because the oh yeah was so overpowering. But
Yeah.
whatever struck me to say, "What am I doing?" I thank you,
Yeah.
because you'd have two dead people and confused cops wondering why he's driving down the street at 190 miles an hour or whatever, and there's a wall at the end.
Yep. My son's mother used to tell me all the time when I used to call her up and because like I said, I harassed her, I call her up, I'm going to kill myself. Do it. You're going to kill yourself? Do it. I don't care. And again, she had every right not to care about me for what I did to her. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you're hearing someone tell you, do it, do it, do it. And I think maybe that kind of had an reverse effect on me to where I'm like, yeah, you want me to do it, so I can't bother you anymore. You know what I mean?
Sorry to laugh,
Right?
but
No, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
whatever works.
Right,
So she
exactly.
saved your life by not giving in to your little plea.
Hmm.
Had she given in, maybe, and the result didn't pan out, who knows what could have happened, right? Because false pretense is even worse.
You're damn right about that. And I've had some false pretenses there too. So
Oh,
yeah. So, but when the false pretense happened, I was like pretty much over it, you know. So, Dandelion Fest says I was good with it at the time, and I'm too old to fuss over relationship stuff. I think relationship should last as long as both people want it. Better to let things go when it ends. Absolutely,
yeah.
100%, 100%.
A,
Why
a lot of
beat a
people
dead
hang
horse?
on. Yeah, exactly.
People hang on way too long, and the longer you hang on, the worse it gets. It just does, you know. I'm True Skill says thanks. This is the type of live stream give a whole lot of value to everyone watching. Well, again, I'm True. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
We're trying to give people something to think about. You know, like I said, we can't help everybody. We can just give our opinions. We can let people know what we went through, how we got through. It's going to be different for everybody else, but maybe
And
somebody can take something away from what we're saying. If I help one person today, I'm happy.
indeed. And, if we can help, we're hoping people such as yourself on True Skills could offer some of your advice or some of your knowledge in helping others. Because, power is by many.
Hmm.
I don't claim to know everything, and I know Anzo doesn't claim to know everything. And again, if we could learn and reteach, then we're doing good.
100%. I don't sit here and I claim to be some righteous dude. You know what I mean? This is why I want it to be as real as possible because I don't want people to think I'm out here preaching shit.
It's from the
I need
heart,
you
from
to,
the heart.
yeah, I need you to know it's from the heart. and I went through some shit. You know what I mean? I went through some shit. So I experienced it.
And if you
I mean,
don't know, now you
now you
know.
know.
Beep.
Exactly. You're damn right, brother. You know, so I always say, no matter what, if you haven't experienced being in a depression, you cannot talk to somebody about being in a depression. You can't do it because you may talk things that are true. You may talk logic, but because you haven't been through it, someone in a depression is going to say, you don't know. You don't know what I'm going through because we can't see any type of light at the end of that tunnel. We just can't. You know, we have to break through that light ourselves. We have to get to that light. We have to do it ourselves. We have to want to do. We have to push, you know, and that's what I did, you know. And like I said, I won't even say that I sat there and I pushed because I got to get through it. I pushed because of my pride didn't want to let me be an embarrassment. But whatever helps, helps. You know, I can't sit here and straight that I was the strong dude that said, like you did, what are you doing? You got to break out of this. I wasn't that dude. That wasn't me. But my pride, my father used to always tell me, boy, do you got pride? Do you got pride in yourself? You know what I mean? When I would do some shit, you have pride, have some fucking pride. And my pride would not let me, would not let me go
Yeah,
to
but
the
that's
next step.
that was an old, no shun on your dad, because my dad was the same way. That
Yeah,
was
I
the
know, I know.
old school way of thinking.
Yeah, I know.
And we realized that, being a man is being true to yourself.
Mhm.
That's what
I know.
being a man is. Being a man is not crying, not expressing yourself, not letting people know how you feel, because
Hmm.
healing is by talking.
Hmm. Yeah, you're
Every
100%.
association, AA, drug, you name them, they all
Mhm.
have meetings where they talk so others can know they're not alone.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's what sometimes it has to be that. Sometimes you have to talk to people. Sometimes you have to sit down and listen to people, but you also have to want to. Because if you're still in that, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, you don't know what I'm going through type of attitude, then you're not going to let what people say sink in. And
You're
that's
not
where I
ready
was.
yet.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. I didn't want to hear that shit, you know? So,
But don't wait too long. Don't wait too long, because you never know. No one knows how long it's going to take before you can't come back. No one
mhm,
says, if you go longer than 2 weeks of depression, there's no coming back. Some
mhm,
person could lose it after one day. Some people could just keep
absolutely.
losing it forever,
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. My depression lasts 5 years, but someone else may last a year, may last a month, maybe half last a week. I mean, even if you're going through a depression for a month or a week, you're still in a depression, right? It's not about how long the depression is, it's about how you feel when you're going through it. You know, people may see the
I'm
light
more,
with,
sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. No, no, I was just going to
I
say
was going
people
to
may
say,
see the light within a week, you know, so
mhm. I was going to say I'm more concerned for the people like myself who didn't even know they're in a depression, you know,
there are people out there like that too.
because I was that guy. I didn't think I was depressed. I just think I was getting a bad beat in life. But I
Hmm.
realized if like how they show COVID, if you have these symptoms, you have COVID. When you look at signs of depression, if you have these signs, it's called depression. There's just degrees of depression, right? And
Hmm.
I had some of those symptoms, and sleeping is one of them.
Hmm. Yep, it was. And the underlying thought says it sounds like she was sick of being manipulated, and you are absolutely right, 100%. She was, and that's why. Yeah, go ahead, do your thing. And that's why um, the stuff I did didn't affect her anymore because she didn't care. It was like you keep doing the same thing over and over again. If you're gonna do it, do it. Leave me alone. Get out of my life. Like Roberto said, she moved on with her life. I didn't. She moved on. She did what she had to do, and I was still stuck there trying to make things better, trying to get her back. You know, but the thing I was doing to get her back were driving her further away, and I knew she wasn't coming back. She stuck her ground. You know, a lot of women will take a man back if they cheat. She stuck her ground. She said, "Nope, What you did to me was unthinkable. I could never have even thought of you doing that. And she never came back. So I started doing things to try and manipulate her. You're absolutely right. Saying things, hurting her, making her feel bad, to the point where it got to the point where she's like, I don't give a fuck what you say anymore. You know? So you're absolutely right about that.
No good comes out of it.
And Austin says, I gotta head out. Thank you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. No problem,
My
Austin.
pleasure. Peace out.
Thanks for checking it out. Appreciate that. You know. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes, so I'll just give 10-minute warning. So we'll say whatever we have to do and cut it off in 10 minutes. Any final words, or if anybody, because we got 8 people watching now, you know, so if anybody has any comments or wants to say anything, you can go right ahead. Um, put in the comments. You have anything to say, Mr. Mendes?
My final word, without sounding repetitive, is depression is a very serious issue. It's serious just like the disease we're experiencing now, because there are some people who are experiencing it and aren't aware they're experiencing it. And being that's the case, you will not seek help. If you are doing things out of character repetitively, this is a sign of depression.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you might want to consider. Maybe it's not severe depression, but it could lead to severe depression. So if you start doing things that are really extremely out of character, talk to somebody, find out. It doesn't have to be a doctor, it doesn't have to be your parents, it doesn't have to be your best friend, just someone who you feel will give you constructive advice and make you feel better about yourself. That would be my final word.
And I'll just say you're absolutely right. I will say keep pushing, because no matter what, that light is there. You may not see it, you may not even believe it's there, but it's there. Things get rough. You know, you may be in a depression and you think that things are getting better, but they end up getting worse. It happens, but you got to pick yourself up. You got to fight it, and you got to keep moving on. You got to keep moving on. You got to keep pushing. You got to believe that one day you will. I didn't see the end. I didn't see it. I didn't even think there was one. Look at me now. If I can get out of it, if I personally can get out of a depression, anybody can. I'm no better than nobody, bro. I'm no better than you. I'm no better than anybody in this chat watching. I'm just a dude. That's all I am. I'm just a dude. But I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And now I'm at the point where I know I will never let myself get back into that situation.
Or at
I
least
can
we're going to
honestly,
try our very best not to.
no, I know. I know I won't. There's only one thing in this world that could ever bring me back there. So I pray for that thing not to happen all the time. But it's basically, if something happened to my son, then I know that would put me right back there. Boom, I would be there. But as long as nothing happens in that situation, everything I've been through, if I got through everything that I've been through, there is nothing that the Lord can put in front of me now that I cannot handle. There's nothing. You know what I mean? Because I've handled the worst. If you had told me 10 years ago, no, I won't say 10 years ago, because let's say 20 years ago, that this would have been my life. Your mother would die, your father would die. You know what I mean? I'd have been like, fuck you. I would have bet my whole life that I wouldn't have had such a bad 7 years of my life. Like, it was just one thing on top of the other, after the other, after the other. And I didn't see anything getting better. I'm like, shit. I used to, even now that things are good, I still sometimes find myself, okay, when is the shit gonna hit the fan again? What's gonna happen now? You know what I
I
mean? I
hear
keep
you.
doing that.
Because it's happened so much in our lives,
I
you
keep
know.
looking for the shit that's gonna hit the fan, bro. And I know I gotta stop doing that, but I do it. You know what I mean? I do it. Like, it's like, okay, it's a good day. It's been a good year. Actually, it's been a good 2 years. What's gonna happen next year? You know what I mean? What's gonna
Take it
happen?
day by day. Take it day by day. Because
I
when you
do.
forecast too far ahead, it's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. Be
You
thankful for
drive.
today. Plan for tomorrow. Forget about yesterday.
Yeah, you drive yourself crazy doing that too, bro. Sometimes I drive myself crazy doing that too, thinking about what bad is going to happen to me
we
again.
we are our worst enemy. We will
Mm-hmm.
do things to ourselves that we wouldn't want to do to other people. But when
100%.
you realize it, shame on you if you continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't
You're
realize it, wake the fuck up.
absolutely, you're absolutely right, bro. Dandelion Fluff says, I'm happy that so many people are learning to talk about their feelings. It makes us all better when we share. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing.
100.
We live in a time now
100.
where people are at least acknowledging depression as a disease. They never did before. Now we know that being a depression is a disease. Doesn't make you weak, doesn't make you, it's a disease. It's a disease. It's your mind. Your mind can play tricks on you. It played tricks on me. Still does play tricks on me every now and then. It's just I know that it's playing tricks on me. You know what I mean? I know it's doing it. So it's like, calm down, relax, chill. You know what I mean? You're good. You're good. Stop thinking that something bad is around the corner. I had a dream the other day, bro. I had a dream that my son like got hurt. He died in my dream. You know, and I told him,
Because subconsciously you're constantly thinking it. That's why you carried it to your bed.
and my everybody's like, when you dream about death, it's long life, right? So I'm like, that's fine. But now he's 21 years old. But if he goes out and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't hear from him. I'm like, where the hell's my kid? You know what I mean? Like, what is he doing? Like, where are you? I'll
But you
text him.
can't
Like,
you
bro,
can't do that to yourself, Anzo. You
I
know,
know,
I hear
but
you.
I do.
You can't do that to yourself because
I
why?
know.
Your body takes the grunt of all of that negative energy you're
I know.
bringing on yourself when you know
I
your
know.
son is safe. You know your
I know.
son's responsible.
I know.
If we pray that nothing happens to our kids,
Hmm.
that's all we could do. I got two girls who one of them's 22 thinking she's 35 and the other
Hmm.
one's 17 thinking she's 28.
Hmm.
And you know, with the way life is now, if I raise my voice, they let me know my rights.
Yeah, I
Dad, you
know.
know, I could. So
Hmm.
I try and just talk knowledge. Just talk knowledge.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes, you are grounded, but there's a lot of people who aren't out there.
Hmm.
And if you forget, that's
Hmm.
when you get reminded. So don't ever forget.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I don't have any issues with my son. I know he's responsible. It's the other things that might happen to him that worry me.
But you
You know
can't,
what I mean?
you'll go insane. Just like we can't
I know.
stop people from talking about us, we can't
Mhm.
control our kids' destinies. We
Yeah, I
just
know.
hope and pray for the best for them.
Yeah, I know. And I do. But then again, I still get one night, bro. He slept out, and he said he was going somewhere. He's like take his girl home or whatever, and then didn't come back. And I'm like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like what the hell? So I text him. Of course, he was sleeping, so he didn't answer me. But he answered me in the morning. I'm like, okay, just making sure you're safe. You know. One night,
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
one night it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, around 4, and I seen this video on Facebook, and it was Atwater Metro, right, where some Metro cops were beating up or arresting a kid and his girlfriend, and I kept hearing the voice, and I'm like, yo, that sounds like Raheem, and then the person said the name. No, the person said the name, and the name was Kahim. So I'm like,
No
is that
way.
no word of a lie, bro? And then the girl that they had down on the floor had the same type of voice that his girl has. So I'm like, what the fuck? Is that my
Man,
kid?
you're
Like, what
getting
the hell?
another sign.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I text him and he didn't answer me. So I didn't really sleep much that night. But then he woke up in the morning and I told him, like, I heard you say, he's like, yeah, no. But he said it was his friend. He knew who it was. So I was like, okay. But I was just like, the way the voice sounded and the name that called, because it's an audio someone recording. So Kareem sounds like Raheem. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I was like, holy cow, like,
Or
no.
maybe your mind's playing tricks on you.
It could have been, but no,
You know,
it really sounded like his name, though. Really,
because
and the
one
voice.
time I thought I saw a ghost because I really wanted to see a ghost. I'm just saying.
Oh wow, I've thought I've seen ghosts too, but I've also dreamed about my mom's funeral. I don't know if I ever told you that story. But
No, maybe we should save that one.
yeah, we could save that one. Yeah, we could save
That
that
that,
one.
that sounds like a talk. That
Yeah,
sounds
we
like a
could save
talk.
that one. We could save that one. But yeah, I had a dream
Looks
about
like
it.
we hit that spot. This
We
was a
hit that
great two
spot.
hours. I loved it. I didn't even feel it.
Yeah, me too. And we're gonna be back next week. That's for sure.
What is
Um,
that? Dandelion Nuff? Dandelion
Dandelion
Fluff?
Puff. She says, "Yeah, thank both of you. This was a great stream. Thank you.
Thank
I
you for joining us. We appreciate you.
hopefully we can start picking up more viewers for our other streams because we're not perfect, we're not experts, but we're people who've experienced things and we can at least talk about the things that we experience. We're not judging anybody, we're not telling anybody how to do their things or how to live their life or how to get over their depression or anything like that, but at least to know that there was someone there that went through the same thing that you did is is good to know. It's good to hear.
It's
So
comforting.
it's very comforting. That's the word I was
And
looking
we're
for.
going to talk about those things that those other guys aren't talking about because we want to get shit off our chests.
Absolutely. And this stream today was more on my experience. You know, Mr. Mendez, Mr. Roberto Mendizo Mendez came in
Oh,
and he
I got
said,
all kinds.
but next week, we'll probably do the bullying one. And that will be more centric towards him. So he'll be explaining more of his experiences and stuff like that, and I'll be the one chiming in. So definitely hope you guys check that one out as well. I do like this show. It was a great stream today. Um,
I
you're
like to
also in
think that the system creates bullies,
Canada.
and
Absolutely.
we're going to leave it at that.
Okay, and we'll have that conversation. And yes, Dandelion Fluff, we are both in Canada. We're in Montreal. So
The MTL Uptown
peace.
represented.
Mads Mumber says, to all of us are to my knowledge that, oh, all of us are to my knowledge Dandelion. Yeah, because she's in Canada too. So, we're all in Canada, Montreal.
Respect.
Mads is in Toronto. I don't know where Dandelion is. Maybe you
T-
can tell us before we
oh,
go.
that's why I got the T-Dot compliment.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Oh
why
wait,
she said
hold on. Let me just rise up to the occasion. Rise up to the occasion.
shouldn't have showed that sweater, bro, because now she's gonna want to take your sweater from you. She wants to take mine. She's gonna take that Rapture sweater. I'm pretty sure she wants the hat already, right, Mads? You want the hat, don't you? I know you want the hat. I know you do. Well, next week I'll be wearing my Toronto gear. Fuck that. Nah. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll wear Toronto. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll go with the Spurs. Who knows? But before I cut off, I'm just waiting to see if Dandelion Fluff. Okay, she said I'm near Vancouver, but grew up in Quebec and also lived in Toronto. Okay,
Oh, you made your way across the great country, huh?
that's right. And I'll say this now and I'll say it again. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I would not want to live in the States.
Yes.
I'm glad I'm Canadian, 100%.
No hate on you Americans, but we proud to be Canadians.
She said, no, I just want your sweater, Anzo. Okay, I know. It's still
Oh,
there. It's,
don't
it's,
worry, I'm not offended.
it's still up in the closet. You know what I mean? Don't worry. It's being held. I know you want it. All right. And Dandelion says, cool, man. Didn't know you were too. Yep. A lot of Canadians up here. Yep. We love
Why, did
Canada
you
too.
think we're American? Do we come off as Americans or what?
Oh, bro. They probably thought we're Jamaicans.
Because we
I know
didn't
I got
say A?
that. I know I got that first. It's like, it's
That's
like,
a good one.
it's like, where's your
Uh,
accent? Your accent. I'm like, I'm Canadian. No, your accent. Danny was
That's
like,
an that's an uptown accent. That's not Jamaican. That's
yeah,
uptown
it's
because
from up.
it's a mix of Scotian slash Jamaican. You know,
Slash
I know a
Trini
lot of
slash
those guys.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah. That's uptown
exactly.
talk. If you grew up in Cotonou during our time, that
Mm-hmm.
was the dialect. You had a little bit of patois in everybody.
Exactly. Right. So that's what you said. It's a mixture between and Scotians. They love Jamaicans. For
Yes,
whatever
and
reason,
some
I have
Jamaicans love
the
Scotians too.
Scotians, right? Because it's two crazy people, you know what I mean? Two crazy groups of
Yes,
people getting together. Like Scotians and Jamaicans, they can drink and they can fuck shit
and
up,
they
bro.
love to eat.
Best. And they love to eat. Exactly. Exactly. No, no, totally thought Canada. Okay, so that's good. Yeah,
Okay,
we're
okay.
anyways, guys,
Well,
we're
we
gonna cut.
we never said A on the show, so we might have threw you off.
Yeah, I know.
I don't do
She
that A
said,
because we were both in telemarketing, so we have to pretend to be American.
that
We
right,
can't
we did,
say
bro.
A. You can't say A.
We had to pretend to be white and American. You know what I mean? Like, hello,
It's
sir.
so
How are you
funny you
doing
say that. It's so funny you say that because this guy I was talking to this Jamaican guy. I picked up he was Jamaican, and he goes, "Where are you from?" I go, "I'm Jamaican." He goes, "Come on, you
today?
think you can fool me?" And I'm like, "But hold on. If I was to talk to you in patois, would you think I'm an honest salesman? Not to say that Jamaicans are corrupt." And we
Mhm,
started laughing. I said, "You
mhm.
see where I'm coming? Okay,
Yeah, absolutely. One time. And you know me, we work together all the time, so you know how I pitch. Sometimes I'd pitch like, yeah, sounding like a white dude. One time it was ETA we were at, and I was sitting there and I was trying my thing, and as soon as I answered the phone, this guy was just on me, like, "Oh, what are you calling me for? Calling me the N word? Calling me this? Calling me that?" And then he called me a spear chucker, and at the time,
a
I
what?
a spear chucker,
What is that?"
throwing a spear, the spear
Yeah, but
chucker.
is that offensive? I didn't
That's
know
what
that's offensive.
I never heard that before. And I busted out laughing, bro. I was cracking up. I was like, "What did you call me? You called me a spear chucker?"
Is that as creative as you can get?
He hung up on me right away, bro, because he didn't get the
Oh
reaction.
no, no, no. You have
Yeah,
to say that. That hurts. I don't got no Quebec accent.
yeah. She said
I'm
we
not
act,
talking like the Frenchman.
but she's Canadian, so she can hear it. We may not think there's that Quebec accent, but it's there, bro. You know what I mean? I've caught myself saying "a" couple times, like
I
"hey."
have never heard that said to me before in my life. Never.
Oh,
I guess
dandelion, glad you're the first.
that's what happens with talk radio.
And Matt said I caught the touch of patois immediately when I first heard Onzo. Yeah, because I grew up with this guy. Because I grew up with this
I,
guy.
I'm just coming on with my I guess I could say radio or
You're right.
podcast pitch because maybe as I get comfortable in my skin on doing these things
Mm-hmm.
that my thing will change. Who knows?
It will. It took me a
But
while. I was nervous
I
the
don't want to
first time.
sound like a Quebecer, that's for sure. Not to say have anything against Quebecers, but I don't want to sound like one.
I was nervous the first time I did it, so I can completely understand that. You know what I mean? It took me a minute to get in, but because we're building a community, and to be
Hmm.
honest with you, Rob already said like you were on point when he first watched our show that you were on. He was like, "Yeah, the two guys you had on your panel," he was like, "They were on point." So it's gonna get there.
Respect,
Yeah,
respect.
it's definitely gonna get there, bro. Like you don't have to worry about that. Down there, if I've said I grew up in Quebec's certain,
Okay, we'll let you have it. We'll let you have it.
but she's right though. You know what I mean? She's right.
We
So
got that
with that,
certain joie de vivre being from Montreal.
absolutely. And Maz Bumber says she grew up around Jamaican. Same thing, Dandelion. Yeah, that's why. Like I said, I grew up
Big
with these
up, big
guys.
up,
I grew up with
respect.
two Jamaicans. Like his brother was my best friend. You know what I mean? So his brother, his cousins. It's like the way we lived. It was funny because it was his building, and then my building was connected onto his building, and then there was a driveway, and it was their cousin, and we were all friends. Like we lived 30 seconds away from each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was all that. And before we go, we had a stream, and I wanted to do this earlier, and I forgot. But we had a stream
Okay.
earlier, and we were talking about the fantasy league where I don't call anybody when the draft is going on,
Oh,
right?
here we go. Here we
Well,
go.
since next week we're talking about bullying, let me just say Big Mac with cheese, extra mayo, no
No, wait,
pickle.
don't. You got it wrong already. It was a Whopper.
Oh, yes. Whopper with cheese, extra mayo, no
No
pickles.
pickles. Yeah,
Before,
yeah.
before we get into
That's
top,
why I'm taking the podium next time because that was me.
yo, I used to go to his brother's house. I know this goes quick because I will get into topic later, but I used to go to his brother's house. I
It's
used to chill.
all next week.
And I'd be chilling on the couch, and Roberto would walk in, and I kid you not, we would be like roaches when the lights came on. We'd all look and stop because we know he's coming in
Yeah, I'm gonna grab one of you.
us to go to Burger King, right? And if we say no, it's get out my house.
Yes,
Like,
you
yeah.
see, I'm a bigger man now. I can admit these guys keep reminding me of these stories. My nephew told me I hung him off the balcony. We lived on the third floor. I don't know where I gathered up all that strength to hold him on one arm off of my balcony, but they all claim I did it. So these are all topics to be discussed next week on the O.O.C.
And you guys will get some good laughs next week as well.
Oh, yes.
Comment Dandelion Fluff says, I miss Quebec. So beautiful there. You're absolutely right. I love it. Montreal, I love being here. It's a great city, so I can't complain. And with that, my friends, you have any last words, Mr. Mendizo?
Peace out to our listeners. Love you. Respect.
I say again, peace out. Thank you for watching. We had a maximum of 8 at one point, and that's fine for the first episode. I know I'm going to post the link on Facebook. I'm going to post the link on Twitter so that people can actually
I'll be posting it as well as soon as I get it.
Oh, you can just go on your YouTube, right? Go
Mm-hmm.
to share, copy the link, and then post it to your Facebook so that when people click on it, they can go straight to the link so people can watch it. Try and get in more traffic people and see if we get more people watching for next week. But again, I had a great time. It was a good show. I can't wait to get into more
This is our
topics.
first show. Promise you it won't be our last. Only getting bigger and better.
Absolutely. And with that being said, bye, Dandelion Fluff. Have a good night.
Respect y'all. Peace, love. Stay safe.
We're out. Peace.